Fast in a Thursday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. 202, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Cardinals currently trailing the Cubs 1-0 right now at Busch Stadium as they wrap up a 4-game series with their hated rivals. The Cardinals fell last night. They got blanked 8-0 to the Cubs in a game that felt over quickly. Even with the, we've done these exit surveys, and the biggest storyline for several games was always, hey, they're never out of it. Last night, I don't know about you guys, it felt like they're out of it quickly.
It felt like the first pitch, man, it was the end of the game.
Yeah, certainly. So your biggest storyline, Jamie Rivers.
Oh, man. I mean, it's got to be Erick Fedde. The storyline is that he couldn't keep the ball inside the park for like the whole night. What did they hit? 3 home runs against him? I think it was 3.
Yeah.
Was it only 3?
It was only 3.
Felt like more.
10.
Only 3. They had a couple of doubles as well.
They're hitting the ball hard.
They were smacking the crap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, pick whatever comment you want to add behind the name Erick Fedde, and to me, that's the storyline last night.
Carey?
Same. Erick Fedde. It was just not his day. It was a rough outing. The first pitch of the game. See you soon. See you later. See you never. Like it was bad. And we talk about the Cardinals being able to get back into games. That's generally when the pitching at some point can stop the bleeding. Like you can give up 4 runs, but then you cut the water off for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th inning. Like they were getting 1 run, 3 runs, 1 run, 2. Like every inning for the first few innings they were scoring.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to play baseball that way, trying to get back into that game.
Mm-hmm. What a vibe killer, right? It'd be different if the Cardinals went out. They lost yesterday. If the score was like 4-3, it was a tight game. They were clawing their way back in. Let's say they were down 4-0. They claw their way back in. They make it fun for the fans. You can build off of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that? 8-0?
It was 1 out of 62.
We just had like the best baseball game, the most entertaining baseball game 2 nights ago. Mm-hmm. And you follow up with that?
Yeah.
That was I'm going to turn this off in the 4th inning and go do whatever I want to go do, because even though the team has came back in the past, there's no way. And if they do, great. I'll look at my phone and I'll see that they came back and tied the game or won the game. Mm-hmm. But I knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, it just had a bad vibe right away with Erick Fedde. So he gives up 7 runs in under 4 innings. He was a disaster. That was the biggest storyline. It kind of felt like he took his own offense out of the game as well. Are there any kudos? I got one.
Who?
You got yourself a pitcher.
Oh, the hamster.
You got yourself a new pitcher.
Come on.
You know, this team has been searching for another top-end
3
starter.
pitches, 3 outs.
Hey, he's
Who
efficient.
knew?
48 miles per hour.
Who knew you had it in Garrett Hampson?
Clearly. Yeah, they're not accustomed to seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I will
He played a nice center field, too.
I was going to say, I'll give him kudos for the way he played center field.
Yeah.
He made a few plays out there.
That's about the only kudos I got.
My kudos, I'm going to go with Alec Burleson, who was compared to Larry Walker last night on the broadcast by Tony La Russa. So,
Wow.
St. Louis star in the making.
I don't know that he's Larry Walker.
No, he's Alec Burleson.
Yeah, he is Alec Burleson. I don't think he's Larry.
He's not Larry Walker. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, they don't have the same birth name.
They kind of resemble each other a little bit. But
that might be where it stops.
he's not a Hall of Fame bat.
I don't think so.
Larry Walker.
I mean, we got
he's not
time.
Canadian like
We got
Larry
time.
Walker.
He's not.
He winds up being Larry Walker,
We got
my
time.
word.
Yeah.
That's
We'll
fine
take
with me.
that.
We'll take it.
That's for
You
sure.
could have your St. Louis star that much.
Yeah.
He might be an actual star.
Yeah, no kidding. Biggest criticism, it's got to be Fedde, right? I'll say aye.
He was terrible.
He was.
He's been terrible.
Everything he pitched broke into the strike zone. Like, whatever he threw, a slider, a chip, instead of it breaking out or dipping below, it was like started high or wide, right into the middle.
There you go, boys.
He struck, so he gave up the first pitch home run to Hap, and then he struck out Tucker. And I was amazed that he struck out Tucker because he's throwing it right. And I'm like, Kyle Tucker, what are you?
Tucker was shocked.
Are you amazed that he's like,
At
this
some point,
cannot
he's gotta
be
pitch it somewhere else.
This can't be
his
the
location.
strategy.
Yeah.
He was thrown off because he was throwing it right down the middle. Kyle Tucker like, this is not real. Okay, it is. All right, I'll get you next time.
The rest of the lineup said, okay.
It is real.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Guys, he's going to be around. Tucker just went back to the dugout. He's going to be around the strike zone, guys. I'd go up there with a hitting mentality. Yeah, he was bad. I get so frustrated. I don't know why, but I get so frustrated with like Erick Fedde and
You just don't like him.
No, I think I've been listening. Like BK. God love him. He'll throw out the underlying numbers with Fedde, and they revisited the Tommy Edman trade during the Dodgers series, and it's like, Fedde, you got a really good pitcher. You got a really good pitcher with Fedde.
Why do you make that noise? Why do you sound
I don't
like
know.
that?
I'm not even trying to sound like
Jamie did it last week. He's like, oh, Velo.
Yeah.
Why did you make that? Is that the?
I don't know.
I'm just asking.
It's just I'm frustrated, and
sounded stuffy.
and that's the voice that comes out.
Must be really stuffy.
It's like, hey, he's a really good pitcher. He's not. He's not. He's fine.
Fast lane fine.
Yes,
Who
fast lane
said
fine.
he's a good pitcher?
BK. Feel
That's
like
why he made that noise.
I'll
That
get a
sound.
text message here soon.
Listen. I respect BK. BK backs up his thoughts. He's always got stats and everything like that.
I
Love
don't
BK.
care about stats.
I don't understand some of the thought process here. He had a breakout year in 2024. What did he do before that in America?
Yeah.
He was dreadful.
America, Jack.
Anthony, he threw a complete game this year.
He did do that.
Closed his
God love
eyes,
him.
probably.
Oh,
That wasn't fair. That was a cheap shot.
Come on now.
That was a cheap shot. He earned that complete game. Who did he face? Pirates?
The Washington Nationals.
Gnats.
Hey, his former team, by the way. That's a big game.
It was a big
I
game.
wish he pitched like that. I wish he looked at every team as if they're his former team, the Washington Nationals or the White Sox. He was fine against the White Sox. But you got to be able to replace Fedde. Come on.
Yeah. Can't lose him.
Yes, you can. You can absolutely lose him. There it is.
Okay.
There it is.
All right.
I'm looking at the text line here, and obviously there's text messages that show up from the previous show. And I want your take on this. This is from the 910. Why are you giving score updates? Some of us are recording the game for later. Thanks for spoiling it. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think people listen.
What did we do?
Well, we haven't done it. Oh, yeah,
I
no,
did.
you did. You did. But this was a previous show.
Yeah. Here's my take on this. We're a live show. If something is going on live, such as the Cardinals game, Cardinals and Cubs game, I will give live updates. I hate to lose you, but hopefully you tune into the podcast for the Fast Lane if you're recording the game. I don't think it's too much of an expectation to say, hey, a sports show's probably going to mention the Cardinals-Cubs game and the score throughout. That's the way I view it.
And some people who are driving around listening to our show, to be honest, they can choose to listen to the baseball game or listen to our show.
Sure.
If they don't want to download the podcast afterwards, they want to listen live, getting an update from time to time and just knowing the score of the game I think it's helpful.
Yep.
There you go.
Keep people from checking their phones while they're driving.
Yeah, that's bad.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
we
bad.
are actually in the health protocol. We're in the safety protocol. We're keeping St. Louis safe, keeping
Health and
America
wellness
safe.
industry.
You know,
We are.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Sorry that you feel that way.
Yeah. And that podcast brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company.
As always. All right. So we did criticism. Biggest question now is, can they
Win the series.
Exactly. A series split after you won the first two games
Feels
dirty, real
Feels
disappointing.
nasty.
feels
feels
dirty.
And not fast lane nasty either.
No, it feels like when you're fresh shower and you step outside to that 115 degree.
Just go back inside.
Just doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't at all.
Would you call that net? Like you don't gain any ground, but you don't lose any ground.
It feels
No.
like we would have lost ground even though we wouldn't have mathematically.
Yeah,
You know?
it feels worse.
Does it feel
feels
like?
worse.
Well, the game's not over, right? But would it feel like the Cardinals are the better team or the Cubs are the better team?
I don't think.
I don't think
You
I
don't have an answer?
Don't have an answer for that.
It's just like whatever. Yeah. Okay.
I think the storyline would be the Cubs rallied back to even the series. And I would have said that if the Cardinals did the same thing.
I think the storyline would be the Cardinals pitching ruined the series. Wow. Starting last night. That was terrible.
Okay, but it would just be one starting pitcher. Because as of right now, Palante's been solid. He's fine.
No, he just did it.
I don't think
he did it.
You might.
I don't think he's throwing grease beamies out there. You know what I mean? I don't think I've ruined anything.
Was McGreevy fine?
Maybe I did.
McGreevy wasn't fine.
No, you're right. McGreevy wasn't
fine. He had
fine.
the blow-up inning, but then the rest of it was fine.
Yeah.
The 801 wants to know, does it feel like giving up 2 goals in the last 2 minutes to lose the game?
Oh, no, it doesn't feel that bad.
That feels worse.
That feels
way
terrible.
worse. Yeah, definitely.
Terrible.
All right, changes could be coming to the NHL, including a big topic of discussion over the last couple of years for playoff teams that have, I don't know, discovered a loophole with their roster. Looking at you, Vegas, Tampa Bay, Colorado,
Chicago.
We'll talk about those changes and what you need to know next on 101 ESPN.
It's me again, Dr. Pryor.
Circus Sports got a bunch of great contests going on right now that you can register and get involved in. They've got the Circa Million and Circa Survivor contest, total of $21 million in guaranteed prizes. And there is no rake. That means that if the entries go above the guarantee, all the extra money right back in the prize pool. That's because Derek Stevens, owner of Circa Las Vegas, wants you, the customer, to win as much as you possibly can. And then once you register, which, by the way, you have to be in person in the casino in Las Vegas to register. But then after that, you download the Circa Sports Illinois app, and you can operate right there from the palm of your hand. They've got great lines on all the futures bets on the app, and the app, too, has the best odds of any other app that's out there. Download the other ones, check it out. Circa Sports has the best odds, which means bigger payouts for you. High betting limits as well, and it's extremely user-friendly. So please don't miss out on the action. Download Bet Like a Pro with your Circa Sports Illinois app and join in on all the excitement. If you or someone you know may have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Big news coming out of the NHL today, as sources tell ESPN.com that the NHL and NHLPA are in the final stages of extending the CBA to 2030. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. So here's some of the big talking points, right? Some of the big changes that could be coming. Full-time e-bugs.
Yeah.
For each team. And the e-bug, of course, is the emergency goaltender.
Which I can't believe
they can get from the stands.
Yeah, but they have stricter rules now. Like, when the e-bug first came out, it was like...
Anybody.
You get a beer league guy that hasn't played in 7 years, maybe, and you have to put him in the net.
Yeah.
I like that, though. Like, those are really cool moments.
Well, they're not cool if you're playing for that team.
Yeah.
They're just not, especially if the goalie's not good.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then your personal stats are affected by it when you go to negotiate. You'd like that, wouldn't you?
Oh, wow.
I'm not in the NHL.
This took a turn. Marsh, I was there. I was with you. We're having fun, and now I'm not.
No, I just think the e-bug, the full-time e-bug's been a long time coming. I mean, a lot of teams carry a third goalie. What's wrong, buddy?
I was hearing Siri or something.
Oh, I didn't. It's not my watch.
Yes, God?
A lot of teams use the e-bug for practices when goalies are a little banged up or tired or long road trips or whatever. There is lots of games. I said it a couple of years ago. Why doesn't the NHL just let each team have one guy full-time? Pay him like $100,000 a year. Mm-hmm. It's a good living. It's a good living. You travel with the team. You stay in the hotels, team meal, everything. And maybe you occupy another role within the organization, too.
Yeah.
Like, after you're done with practice, you got to go into the office and do something. Like, it's because it's not like you're playing all the games. But anyways, I think it's a good...
sales.
Can you sign up for that?
I'm sure you can.
Okay. Open tryouts.
They do have tryouts, but
Jamie.
usually they select like 5 or 6 guys and select the best one.
What are you saying?
Nothing, Carey. You're fine.
He's saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
I'll put in a good word for you.
That's all I need.
I don't know if this is good for you there, Carey, getting a look. But nonetheless, you know, the storylines end, but at least the teams could be better set up. All right, the 84-game season. 84-game season now for the NHL. And Batman's kind of spinning this, and, hey, it's fan-friendly. Follow the money. It's about absolutely getting more money for
games.
Yes. For the league players.
84 games a long season. 82 is a long season.
Sure. But this is a money grab. 2 extra games might not seem like a lot, but over 32 teams, we're talking about 64 new gates and millions of dollars in revenue.
Yeah.
Look, the NHL and any league for that matter has every right to earn as much money as possible. But I just love how Bettman's going, hey, it's fan-friendly scheduling. No, it's more money for you. Let's just be honest.
I wonder what the back-to-backs look like with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know? The Blues had a lot of back-to-backs
Well,
this year.
they'll start the season earlier.
Right.
Yeah. They'll whittle the time in there necessary not to have so many back-to-backs.
Another aspect of the new NHL and NHLPA agreement here, which again could extend to 2030, according to Emily Kaplan of ESPN.com. Another one would be 7-year contract limit. So max 6-year deals for free agents, 7 years if you're re-signing a player.
I don't understand that one. I don't know what side lobbied for that more, because if I'm a team, if I'm the owners, I don't really want that, because if I have a player, I have the ability now to give them 8 years. I can stretch that out a little bit, lower the AAV, and you know, kind of mess with it that way. And the players, you know, some of these guys, like, wouldn't you rather be able to sign for 8 years? Especially if I was an older player, like if I'm 31, 32, instead of like 6 years as a free agent. I don't know. It's a weird one for me. The only thing that's going to happen to the owners is a player now will sign for 7 years asking for more money.
Yeah.
So the salary cap will be affected that way, because you'll be paying guys more because you don't have that extra year to offer them.
Sure.
So interesting either way.
All right. No player dress codes.
That's a weird one for me.
Bless you.
Yeah, bless you, Carey. No player dress codes. That's a weird one for me. Mm-hmm. Didn't the NBA do that, or don't they do that?
For sidelines, is this like
two
games? I think it's all for NFL. It's always been based on like the coach, the organization. Like you can travel. Some teams travel in suit. Some teams travel in comfortable clothing, whether it's team issued gear or whatever you want to wear.
I just don't get it. Like, if you're going into a game I mean, you should, and these guys are worth millions of dollars. You should at least look the part. And to me, it's somewhat uniform. Like, I always thought it was stupid that the players, like on a travel day, have to wear a suit to the plane.
I hated that.
Well, the stupid thing is the players get on the plane, and the moment they get on the plane,
They get undressed.
they take off all their suit and stuff, put on a pair of shorts and a hoodie. Because it's comfortable to travel.
Nobody wants to travel in a suit cross country.
And you don't really see them either.
No. The only time you see them is from the bus to the elevator at the hotel. So if I was a team, I would say, like, no dress code for travel days. Just don't look like an idiot. If you look like an idiot, there still will be team fines for looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can think of in terms of changing the player dress code is, and we see this in the NBA, we see it in the NFL, where players will show up, teams will take pictures of them, and they're wearing like whatever they want to wear, right? Sometimes it's goofy, but it's a way of expressing yourself, right? Like you're showing off like who you are.
You can do that with a suit.
You can, for sure. But maybe the NHL is trying to lean more into like the social media aspect, like, hey, this is what this guy is actually like, rather than him just wearing a suit. So that's the only thing I can maybe think of, and maybe the players lobbied for that, and they want to have a little bit more self-expression when heading to the rink.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a hill to die on. It's just weird that, like, that's a thing.
Like, you shouldn't show up wearing like a hoodie and shorts. Like, if you're
somebody's going to do it though,
for sure,
There's going to be some donkey that shows up wearing like a pair of like sweatpants and like a hoodie.
Now it's probably like worth $1,000, but you know,
True.
Yeah.
$1,000 hoodie.
Guarantee it, yeah, it's going to be worth a lot of money. But look, here, the main thing for me out of this CBA thing is that they've reached an agreement 2 years before that they had to.
Labor peace.
Yeah.
We're talking about a league. I agree, Jamie, a league. And we'll get to the situation with the LTIR loophole that they're closing up. That's one of the biggest takeaways.
They were listening to the show, I think.
They were, absolutely. But when it comes to the labor piece, we're talking about the NHL. We're talking about a league that has had 3 lockouts in 2 decades. So for Bettman and Walsh to broker a 4-year CBA extension this early, I think it's a win for the league and the sport.
Yeah, and they said that there's other things involved here, like some of the health insurance. I really hope the players, because I've been telling players since the day I retired, get health insurance post-career. They should mandate that teams pay for your health insurance until, like, because it ain't right away. It's 2 years, it's 3 years, it's 4 years, 5 years down the road. You need surgeries, and you're messed up, and now you got to pay out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Not everybody made the millions of dollars, and some of the policies won't even cover certain things because you're a mess going into it.
Sure.
So
yeah.
I hope the players got some medical coverage in there, because they'll figure it out later on in life that they should have fought for that.
Yeah, good call on that.
Yeah.
Now, the LTIR, they're closing the loophole. So this is, I don't know if you want to call it the Kucherov rule from 2021.
Originally the Patrick Kane rule.
Could go back further than that.
Yeah.
I think people really started hollering about this when the Lightning did it with Kucherov in 2021. Teams stashing players on long-term IR, and then magically they're healthy by game 1 of the playoffs so that teams can take advantage of the salary cap rules. New CBA, they're trying to close that loophole, and I think it does restore some integrity to the postseason.
Well, it does, but listen, the owners get all mad at themselves for doing this, right? But they're the ones who found the loophole. Like,
sure.
The front office has found the loophole. So anyways, what they're going to be putting together in the CBA is that the roster that's playing in the game has to be cap compliant. So you can still have a player that puts you over. You can carry players over the salary cap, but the roster that you put on the ice has to be compliant with the salary cap.
There you go.
Now, where teams are going to find their way out of this, by the way, is when they have an aging player or a player that's not as good, like a Darnell Nurse in Edmonton, who's a 9.2 on the salary cap. All of a sudden, he's just going to be a healthy scratch come playoff time, and that $9 million will give you one or two other players that you can put in your lineup.
So you don't have to release the player. You just can't have him active for that game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of interesting because it's almost like a get-out-of-jail-free card when you make a mistake in free agency. Like, we gave this guy too much money. His performance isn't there.
Yeah.
We still made the playoffs. Oh, we can send him up to the media box.
And if he has a no trade or a no move, the GM can just turn to the player and say, listen, we know we gave you the contract. You know you got a full no movement clause. I get it. But just know that for the next 6 years, you're never going to play a playoff game. Now, would you like to waive your no movement clause?
Yes, sir. I'd like out of here. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Which team abused the LTIR the worst? You guys feel?
Vegas. Vegas was like $30 million over the cap the 1 year or something stupid like that. They traded like for 3 $9 million players at the deadline. My gosh.
They really exercised that.
Take advantage of it.
Stone and Hurdle and somebody else came off of LTIR the day before playoffs started.
Coach, I'm healthy. Good. Game one of the playoffs is on Thursday. You'll be ready to go. What's trending is next in the Fastlane on 101 ESPN.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Well, after losing 8-0 last night to the Cubs, the Cardinals trail the Cubs today 2-0 after 4 innings of play. We'll continue giving you updates on today's game throughout the remainder of the show. But coming up next, we're going to dive into the association. The NBA draft was last night. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll get into some other Major League Baseball stuff as well throughout the show. And, of course, your St. Louis Blues. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
What are the hot topics in the sports world?
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
It's time to find out with
What's Trending? Brought to you by Elite Comfort Experts. Heating and cooling with no gimmicks, just guarantees. EliteComfortExperts.com.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN with Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, and Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, the NBA draft was on last night. Day 1, we'll have Day 2 coverage for you tonight, starting at 6:30 right here on 101 ESPN. Of course, Cooper Flagg was taken number 1 overall by the Dallas Mavericks, but there's a couple other players I want to discuss. One being Ace Bailey, who was drafted by the Utah Jazz. And what's interesting about that is he did not want to be drafted by the Utah Jazz, and they said, you know what? We're going to take you anyways. And then also Colin Murray Boyles, who was drafted by the Toronto Raptors. When he was drafted, he shook his head and said Fast Lane, and you can see him say it on television. Thoughts on these two players last night and their reactions?
So, in terms of Ace Bailey, people have a preference, and both guys, people have a preference for which team they want to play for. You can feel a way, but at the end of the day, you're going to be excited to be in the NBA and have an opportunity to play basketball. Lifelong dream, I'm sure, for all of those young men. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Maybe there was a team that was next that he was hoping had drafted him. Maybe it wasn't so much about the team. Not speaking of Ace, the other kid, where he's like Fast Lane. Maybe he was expecting the other team after the team that drafted him to pick him up. You never know. But in terms of Ace Bailey, he's a very good basketball player. The Jazz made a good decision, and he's going to play in the NBA and, like I said, live a lifelong dream, I'm sure.
Okay. He's an 18-year-old kid, first and foremost.
A kid, 18.
He's 18 years old.
Most important.
He's a kid. I don't think we should judge his entire character on one night. I will say, if I'm Utah, I don't love it. I don't love a young man that's not excited to go to one of 30 teams in the NBA and not be excited to have his moment. This is a kid through his agent that decided not to work out for certain teams. I imagine Utah was one of them. Didn't want to work out for.
I think Charlotte was the other team, if I'm not mistaken.
He apparently wanted to go to I don't know, Brooklyn and Washington or maybe one other team. That's a bad look. 18 or not, that's a bad look. And I get frustrated sometimes watching some of these young men that enter any league and not realize the opportunity that's in front of them.
Did the kid not just become a millionaire?
Yes.
Okay. Suck it up, Buttercup. Sorry. Bottom line, when I was being drafted, and I know, Carey, you didn't get that opportunity to be drafted, and that sucks for you. Still went on to prove everybody wrong, still. But I was rated high, and I didn't go as high as I was rated with a lot of things that happened, blah, blah, blah. I would have played for any team that picked me.
Right.
The only team that I scratched off the list was the San Jose Sharks, because that's the team that wanted me to go train for 3 months in Brainerd, Minnesota, in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, nah, I don't think I need to do that. I walked out, told my agent, I think you can scratch them off the list. But that was it. It's not because they didn't want to go to San Jose.
Jamie was the original Shadir Sanders.
Jamie had headphones in the meetings.
Wore too much cologne.
I was very respectful, trust me. But I just don't get it. And I understand that these kids, they have dreams or aspirations of playing with certain teams or with certain players and whatnot, but it's still an honor to be drafted.
Yeah, you're not entitled.
You're not owed anything.
You're not owed anything. You're not owed any sort of, hey, you get to choose where you want to go. I mean, if you have enough leverage to pull a John Elway or an Eli Manning, sure. But I hated that too. You woke up entitled. I should go to where I want to play. All right.
Now, I will say the Utah owner, Ryan Smith, was super cool about it because he was on Pat McAfee, I guess, and they asked him about it. And he's like, hey, man, he's going to love Utah. He just doesn't know it yet, but he's going to love Utah.
Yeah.
So he's not. I will say this about having gone to Utah.
You don't like Utah?
No. It's fine.
Depends on who you are.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people like it. Some don't.
I mean, you can't.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, Carey.
Some people really love it. Some people, that's fine.
And some people are like, nah, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Depends on who
that
you are.
is.
I don't know, Jamie. It's weird. Huh. You didn't mention the two Illini that got drafted in the first round.
We're saving that for you.
You do it.
By the way, who went 10th in the draft?
Player. So his name is Con Knuppel. He went 4th. He did go top 10 after Cooper Flagg. So, yeah. But, yeah, the two Illini players, Will Riley and Kasper Giacchionis, both drafted back-to-back.
That's a hockey player.
Kasparis? Yeah, he's a basketball player. He was projected top 5. I don't know what the hell happened, but good for those guys.
A Duke player did go 10th.
He's a center.
Yeah. The Malu kid.
Told you.
He was traded to the Suns. That's really funny. Just a couple of takeaways here. I think Dylan Harper, 2 to the Spurs. I think that's a perfect fit. Mm-hmm. I think he's got him and Wemby. He's a perfect sidekick for Wemby because he's kind of praised as like that offensive engine, size, defense. He's got that pick and roll versatility. I think playing alongside Wemby, I think it's going to be great chemistry for the Spurs, who typically have good, they find guys that play very well together. Mm-hmm. Any other takeaways for you there, Carey?
Nah, good. I mean, I'm happy the Illini got 2 guys drafted first round.
Last thing here, guys. We talked about this yesterday with the arms race in the NL Central, and Paul Skeens went up against the Miz, Jacob Mizorowski, yesterday, and the Miz outdueled Paul Skeens, 8 Ks in 5 innings for the Brewers. Should we be more worried about the Miz?
How many hits did the Miz give up? Because I thought I read somewhere he's only given up 1 hit in 2 games or something.
I think it's 3.
3's a 3
in
now?
his first 3 outings or something like that.
It's been filthy.
How the hell was he still in AAA at that point?
Because he's waiting for the right moment. Him up. Yeah, the Cardinals game was his
first game.
debut.
He gave up 2 hits yesterday, and I believe 1 hit in his previous outing, and of course 0 hits before he tripped over himself, like that umpire did in the College World Series.
We
didn't even talk about that.
The head coach, blame the manager. Get the hell out of here.
Own it.
Get you some damn balance, you bum. So I'd have told him.
Should we be
fell
more
over your own feet?
Worried about the Miz moving forward rather than Paul Skeens?
No, well, and
well, the Pirates, Anthony, you say it all the time.
They're both going to be Dodgers.
Oh.
I mean,
one will be a Dodger, one will be a Yankee and or Padre.
True. Wow. But yeah, of course, for the time being, you got to face Skeens, The Miz, kid from Cincinnati now.
Michael Boyd.
Got some guys.
And then Matthew Boyd last night.
Matthew Boyd, yeah.
Yeah, but Matt Boyd's been around.
Been around.
No, the kid from Cincinnati. What was his name?
Chase
Burns.
Mr. Burns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Is
no,
that
it's not great.
Corbin Burns' brother?
Sure.
Probably.
Well, Brent Burns.
Brent Burns.
One went to hockey, one went to baseball. Burns family doing it right. All right, reasons why the Blues would shop Kyrou. So we've discussed why they wouldn't shop him. What are the reasons why they might? Jamie will tell you there are no reasons. Next on 101 ESPN.
Yeah, I don't think it's just part of the process. Is like I said, when you're signing contracts to young players that you think are going to be your top 4 forwards or top 3D, and it's just standard. They don't sign it without that. Dates come and go in our business. You just, whether it's a no trade clause kicking in or a trade deadline or whatever, you just, you don't really focus on it. You just let it. It is what it is.
That was from the other day. It was Doug Armstrong's media availability, and that was how they approached things with Kyrou becoming, I don't know, he's becoming a potential trade target with the no trade clause coming up. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. Now, Jamie's been on record here saying it doesn't make much sense unless you're getting a Clayton Keller type player or Clayton Keller himself back. Doesn't make sense to deal Kyrou. And our stance, I think, as a show is the one reason why anybody's talking about this is because of that no trade clause. It doesn't mean that they have to do anything.
It doesn't even mean that Army's actively shopping him right now.
Right. But if they were to move him, what are the reasons to shop Kyrou?
I just don't know. I guess if you're looking to shop Jordan Kyrou, who is only 27 years old still, you're looking to get a younger centerman. But,
yeah,
that's kind of it.
I think what people are hung up on is, well, can you improve the defense? Because, Justin Falk, people are done with Justin Falk. They're done with Nick Leddy. And Kyrou has been, as one of the people in the Snake Pit said yesterday, he's been the whipping boy at times for Blues fans, and he makes the most of that. Just trade him, and you can improve your defense. But there is an and in that.
Yeah.
Or you could improve your defense with a trade, and you could also weaken your offense.
So, yes, all of that is true. I look at it a different way. I look at it as someone who's trading for Jordan Kyrou. Why would they trade a defenseman that you view as equal value for Jordan Kyrou? Wouldn't you want to build around 2 players like that if you're a team?
Yes.
And Doug Armstrong says, well, he has said openly that the Blues currently aren't in a futures mode, meaning I don't want all of your draft picks either. If you trade me, I'm sure if you trade him 2 first-rounders, you probably might part with Kyrou, but I don't think Kyrou's getting that. But so the return for what you're trading Kyrou for it has to match in some capacity. Never mind the points. Okay, let's just say it's a defenseman. If everybody's really excited about getting a top 4 defenseman, why would a team trade a top 4 defenseman to acquire Jordan Kyrou? Then wouldn't that team be looking for another top 4 defenseman?
Yes. And they are typically harder to find than the forwards.
And this Noah Dobson thing, I look at it as to why are the Islanders shopping him then? Is the price tag too much? I don't know that. I don't know that to be true. But is there something we don't know about Noah Dobson? I don't know that to be true or not either. But here's one thing I thought of today when I was driving around in the car, and I hadn't thought about it until today. How does Jordan Kyrou affect your current lineup if you trade him? Minus the 70-some points to 85 points, somewhere in there he's going to get in the next handful of years. But what do we think might happen to Dylan Holloway?
Yeah.
Dylan Holloway and Jordan Kyrou were like peanut butter and jelly last year.
Like lamb and tuna fish.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
Cool.
They're on the ice before practice together, working on things. Staying after practice, working on things. We're unbelievable as line mates at the same time. So now you take away Kyrou's playmaking ability and his speed and all that.
Yeah.
And now you got to fill the void and say, well, you got Jimmy Snuggerud. But what if it's not exactly the same? And what if Snuggie doesn't get to that 70 points until 2 or 3 years from now? Are you slowing down Dylan Holloway?
That's a good point.
It's pretty tough to look at all of this and say, hey, we have to trade Kyrou right now.
But Dylan Holloway's coming off an injury, too. Not saying that he won't be the same player he was last year. I hope he is, but you never know.
Right.
Well, his injury is very fixable. Let's just put it that way. It won't impede his training or anything like that.
Plus, look, this is going to be an unpopular take. As much as we really like to love not Neighbors, Bolduc, Snuggerud, like them all, think very highly of them as players and and their potential. They have yet to prove what Kyrou has done offensively, consistently, as a top liner.
That was going to be my question. Why would you trade your leading goal scorer and your guy that was second in points?
And somebody that is likely to he's projecting right now to outperform his contract.
And he played probably the best season that he's played as a Blue to this point last year. Like, I think that all around, like you talk about the goal scoring, you talk about the being locked in on both ends. Last year was probably the most complete season that he's had thus far. Why would you not think that it's only going to go up from there?
Can I tell you something? Can I bring up something? You're right, by the way, but everybody likes to look at, everybody in St. Louis considers Vladimir Tarasenko to have been a star, right? I don't. I think he was a very good player. He only scored, let's see here, he only scored 40 goals one time in his career, and he only had one season where he's outscored Jordan Kyrou. He had 82 points. That is the highest point total Vladimir Tarasenko ever had in the NHL. And it took him until 21-22 for that to happen here in St. Louis, on his way out the door the next year, by the way. Jordan Kyrou, already in his career, his young career, his first full season in the NHL, had 75 points in 74 games. 73 points, 67, 70 points. You have a 75 to 80 point player probably next year, maybe 85 points. But everybody puts Vladimir Tarasenko on this pedestal. Guess what? Vladdy didn't play very good defense either. In fact, at times, kind of lugged around the ice until there was opportunity for offense, then turned on the burners.
Yeah.
So why is Jordan Kyrou highlighted so much, but Tarasenko is like, oh my God, Vladdy was awesome. He was a great player. That's fine. He was a good player. But you have that right now. You actually have a player that could exceed what Tarasenko did.
Right.
I think maybe we asked the question, reasons why the Blues would shop Jordan Kyrou. I think maybe the question should be reasons why fans would want to shop Jordan Kyrou is because of his past, and they're not confident that he can replicate or get better with the last part of his contract. And once you get past this point, then maybe some fans out there believe that you're stuck with him. And if they don't believe he is a Stanley Cup winning caliber player, then they want to get rid of him because they're watching what type of player you need to win a Stanley Cup. My counter would be, you just brought up Vladimir Tarasenko. Can Jordan Kyrou be what Vladimir Tarasenko was to that 2019 Stanley Cup team?
Right.
He was pretty impactful, but he wasn't, the guy.
He's not Connor McDavid.
He was the guy for a good stretch of time in St. Louis.
Connor McDavid, that's it.
Okay.
But my point is, Marsh just brought up, maybe some people thinking, well, he's not a Stanley Cup player, right? I'm reserving those conversations for players like Connor McDavid, the upper echelon elite players. That is when we can have the conversation about, well, is he a Stanley Cup player or not? Jordan Kyrou, to your point, could fit into the role of what Vladimir Tarasenko was.
I'm not even talking about Connor McDavid. I'm talking about what the Panthers have, like grit. Because let's be honest, he didn't have the best playoff.
Who didn't?
Jordan Kyrou.
Okay, so let's visit that for a second because I'm tired of hearing about this, quite honestly.
Not saying that he hasn't before. They played Colorado.
Let's talk about this year. Let's talk about.
I'm not trying to argue with you.
I'm not, but I'm. If you're going to bring up something, I want to talk about it too.
Next on 101 ESPN.
Whoa.
Jamie, we've all heard the term cash is king, and I know our guy Stewie's going to prove it with his information on cash out refis. What's up, Stewie?
You know what? This is great, Anthony. This guy's driving down Olive Boulevard. He's going on his way to the bank to get a home equity line of credit. He says, I got to get $150,000 cash out on my house. I need to redo my house. My wife wants a new kitchen. I want a new man's cave. I'm on my way, and I heard you on ESPN, and I figured I'd just give you a call. What he didn't know was that a home equity line of credit is an adjustable rate mortgage that doesn't have a cap. That means you can start out at 8-9% and go to 20% overnight. On top of that, you pay basically the interest only. So you start now, 5 years from now, the balance is the same. You haven't gotten anywhere. Smarter move, do a cash-out refinance, one mortgage on your house with a fixed rate, no closing costs. If it's over $200,000, you don't have to worry about the rate going up. You pay principal and interest. It's easy. It's simple. 10 years, 15, 20, 30, no matter what you want, we can go ahead and make that term for you. It's going to be smarter. Later on, when you want to refinance again, rates go down. You can get free with the bagel loan. You'll go lower. But if you get that home equity line, you're not going to get the best rate later on.
That's exactly why you call Stewie, right there. Within 45 seconds, he just talked about solving a problem, and that was a massive problem for people out there. So please pick up the phone, call Stewie on his personal cell phone number. That number's 314-324-4440.
Again, that number is 314-324-4440.
Call him, text him, day, night, weekend, doesn't matter. That's our guy, Stewie. He needs to be your guy. And if you can't remember that number, Anthony, what can you do?
You can always Google the bagel loan. Thanks, Stewie.
Have a great day, guys.
NMLS number 226715.
Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Andrew Marsh and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Jamie Rivers here, and he was furious.
I wasn't furious.
Before we broke, talking about Jordan Kyrou and his performance in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I know, Carey, you know how I know that Jamie was furious?
How?
He took off his glasses.
Oh.
I couldn't hear.
He needed to lock in.
He goes...
I don't think Anthony was here for that.
Let's talk about this. And he took off his glasses.
I don't think you were here for the glasses thing, were you?
No, I was. That you could, that you can hear better when you put your glasses on.
I put my earplugs in when I try and look at my phone.
Yes.
That's stupid. I don't know.
It's fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're doing great. All right. So what did you want to say about Jordan Kyrou's performance in the postseason?
So Jordan Kyrou has taken a lot of heat for his performance in the playoffs, and I get it. He had 3 points in 7 games, but there were 3 goals. That ties him for the lead on the team in goals scored. Like, Booch had 3, Nathan Walker had 3, which was a surprise there, and Kyrou had 3. And that's his job, to score goals.
Correct.
So he had 3 goals in 7 games. And Jordan Kyrou, there we go, over the course of his NHL career, in 28 playoff games, he's got 13 points. It's not bad. Like, the playoffs are it's a tough league to score goals in during the playoffs. We see how tight checking it is, how teams play harder defense and all those things. So I just can't sit here and say that, it was terrible in the playoffs. He wasn't terrible. One, Winnipeg is a very smothering team defensively. We saw that. In particular on home ice when they had the last change, there wasn't a whole lot of room to breathe out there for any of the Blues players. And then we also saw Jordan Kyrou take a hit that probably would have murdered most people. He took a hit from Stanley and came back in that game and played the rest of the series. And I know he was dealing with some things, just as all players are dealing with some injuries and things like that. So the one thing that we always wanted out of Jordan Kyrou, we wanted a 200-foot game. We wanted a guy that's impactful offensively, and we wanted a player that could fight through some of the adversities. Within one season, he did that for us. He gave you the points, scored some meaningful goals, turned that second line into an offensive powerhouse alongside Holloway and Shen. Didn't do it all by himself. Played a better 200-foot game, more sound defensively. We saw that he was less of a liability out there. And he took some licks and kept going.
Yeah.
So he's headed in the right direction. And I honestly still feel like Jordan Kyrou is going to even get better and better as time goes on. Mm-hmm. So for the right deal, you can make a move you can move Kyrou, but for me, it has to overwhelm me.
All right, so I'm not trying to frustrate you. Don't shoot the messenger here, Jamie.
No.
But
I have the audio.
Okay. Marshy set it up properly for the folks.
All right, so this is Frank Saravalli on Daily Face-Off, and they're talking about the J.J. Peterka trade as he is now a Utah Mammoth. The Buffalo Sabres trade him. He was number one on his trade board that we talked about yesterday. And so these are some of the offers that Buffalo had on the table, but they decided to go in a different direction. So this is Frank Saravalli.
There's one team who offered 2 first-round picks plus 2 roster players. I think the St. Louis Blues had Jordan Kyrou on the table. At one point in time, the New York Islanders were talking about Noah Dobson, and you smash all those things together and you go, Kesselring and Doan? Like, that just doesn't – it's not getting anyone excited in Western New York, and I understand why, especially when you have to give up on a guy that was a fan favorite.
So based on that right there, though, the problem I have with Frank Saravalli is – he only brings up certain things in the deals. Like he's right with his information, but he's like, I can't understand why Doan and Kesselring. Probably because St. Louis would have had Kyrou on the table for Peterka but he's not talking about that. All he says, and it's very cagey, it's very lawyer-esque, quite honestly, is, well, I heard that Kyrou was on the table. That's like saying Doug Armstrong receiving phone calls on Colton Parayko.
The old Toronto media play.
That's right. Oh, yeah, he received a phone call. He said, go screw yourself. But we're not talking about that. So that's why sometimes these rumors, why they bother me. Because that's never the full-scale information. They're giving tidbits.
And then he said, I think.
I think
Jordan Kyrou. I don't know, but I think. So I don't know that that's
covering his ass for speculation. I mean,
we just had media training about that, so he was probably on that call as well.
No doubt.
Certain things you can and cannot say, and he's just making sure that he's covered.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Well, if you remember, too, the audio we played yesterday of David Piagnotta, he sort of said the same thing. He's like, I kind of heard this. I can't confirm just yet. So there's rumblings, but to what degree, we don't know.
But it just goes back to my original comment of, sure, maybe Doug Armstrong said, okay, let's talk Jordan Kyrou, but I want Peterka and Bowen Byram, too. I want your number 2 defenseman as well in this trade because Peterka for Kyrou straight up is just not happening.
Right.
Or he asked for another player as well or whatever. Just to say, I think Jordan Kyrou is on the table. Like, but to what extent? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And that's the part that gets frustrating at this time of year and trade deadline time of year, too, is I heard, or Doug Armstrong fielding calls on Jordan Kyrou. Well, of course he is. If you're going to overpay for him, I'll trade you Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah. There's no amount of ways that you can kind of shift things here to make it seem like, hey, I've got solid information, but it's buried kind of in opinion, and Just gonna. I think it might happen someday. Possibly.
It's possible.
Yeah.
One day.
You never know. Maybe. I'll let you know on July 1st.
Right. For those that are recording the game, for those that are recording the game and listening to us, I'm going to give you an update from Busch Stadium. All right?
If you want to close your ears.
It's the best I can do.
Turn the radio down.
So 3, 2, 1. Cardinals still trail the Cubs 2-0 right now at Busch Stadium, top of the 7th. At one point, the Cardinals only had one hit, and that moment is now. They've got one hit on the day. The offense is completely dried up the last 2 days. Not completely shocking, given that Imanyaga was on the hill today. He only went 5 innings, but allowed just the one hit, struck out 3, walked 1. Maybe it's good now. The Cardinals can get after the Cubs' pen. The bullpen is pretty solid for Chicago, but at least it's not Imanyaga. Maybe they get back in this. Again, it's only 2-0. They are heading to the bottom of the 7th now. And Burleson, Contreras, and Arenado are up.
Hey, question.
Yes.
Why is Lars hurt?
Yes.
Is he hurt?
What did he hurt? He received his feelings. He received he's been okay lately. He's been really good. He's been really good. He's actually been great.
Did he run into a wall?
Over his last 3-4 games. No, he received an injection to. Hang on.
He has pain in his rib cage.
He ran into a wall when he caught the ball.
Yes, he did the other night.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Don't run into any walls out there.
Smart.
No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
It's from when he hit the wall.
Yes.
He said he needs to drink a little bit more milk.
We don't know if it's bones.
Is it not bones?
Well, an injection, would that help a bone?
I don't know. Where are you
I've had some injections before.
I had an AC joint. I guess that's a joint. I don't know.
You got a whole bunch of little things going
cartilage
on in between your ribs and stuff.
Cartilage.
Yeah.
You don't want to get a shot there, though. That hurts like hell.
That hurts a lot, too, yeah.
That needle about that long.
Guys, who gives a crap? It's gone.
What?
Oh, the cartilage? No, the cartilage is still there.
What's gone? Newt?
No, I'm just saying, like,
the pain.
It doesn't matter where the bottom line is he's
We're
getting.
just trying to figure out, Anthony.
He's got discomfort in his intercostal region.
As Jamie would say, what's your problem?
These guys are like, well, there's bones in there and blah, blah, blah. Look, I don't care where your bones are.
When he runs into walls,
I'm just saying.
He gets hurt.
He received an injection.
That's why Anthony's mad.
Why?
Because Lars is stealing Anthony's thunder for running into walls.
He's the St. Louis guy.
In fairness to me, he has not put his noggin on the line like I have.
No, you're right.
It's usually back, ribs.
Yeah.
You jam that head in anywhere.
He gotta stop.
He
gotta stop that.
Well, he has a hat on, though. I'm sure the hat would, stop.
It's not an airbag, Andrew.
The third baseman for the Cubs got hit on the noggin.
Well, that's the top of his head, though.
Yeah.
Anthony's more of a face guy.
The face was the pool. This was on the desk.
Yeah.
That was my noggin.
If the bill of the hat is supposed to slow down the impact, how much would Anthony's nose help with that?
Oh, that's a good question.
You would think pretty good, but the nose gets in the way. And if you're going fast enough, the nose hits first, and then, Jamie.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's why my nose is pointing west most of the time.
Yeah, gets in the way first, but it doesn't always stop things.
No.
Much like the bill of a hat.
Good point.
Does the Cardinals front office owe it to the fans to compete this season? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're tired of dealers bragging about their huge inventory, their huge selection of vehicles, only to send you on a wild goose chase across, different counties and different back lots, head to Auto Centers Nissan. They're fantastic. I was just there yesterday. Love my friends out there. They've got over 1,000 vehicles, new and used, all in one place. No scavenger hunt required. They're just off I-55 in Herculaneum, minutes from South County. They got their Nissan summer sales event going on. You can score 0% APR for 60 months on the 2025 Rogue and the 2025 Pathfinder, which I'm on American-made SUVs with zero tariffs and serious value. They also have me riding right now in a 2025 Nissan Murano, which is sharp. It's a luxury vehicle. Looks good. It's sleek. You're going to love the added technology. If you like the Rogue, there's a bigger version and a lot more technology that comes with the 2025 Nissan Murano. So check it out. They keep it simple out there. Every new Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, 30-day return promise, no tricks, no stress, just straight up peace of mind. And yes, they work with any credit situation. So skip the hassle. Go out to Auto Centers Nissan. Check them out at autocentersnissan.com. Tell them Stalter sent you when you do head out to Herculaneum. Auto Centers Nissan. It's all here. Does the front office owe it to the fan base to compete this season? Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. So the Cardinals, as we know, they're having a much better season than we all expected, right? Or most of us expected. But should the front office go for the short-term opportunity, like cash in on the short-term opportunity because of the way the team's playing? Keep players like Helsley, keep players like Arenado, keep players like Matz, and even maybe Fedde, who didn't pitch well yesterday at all. Or is it the role of the front office to keep the long-term plan, at the forefront when it comes to trading certain players?
They got to stay the course. This is the mistake the Cardinals have made, in my opinion, in the last handful of years, is they haven't stayed the course in any one direction. Mm-hmm. It's kind of been a hodgepodge of different ideas and different player concepts, all that stuff. It's almost like they were just struggling to continue to find the cheat code to just get in the playoffs.
Sure.
Well, why don't you set yourself up for a good run? So this is where, finally, I think the Cardinals have a roster that is very similar to like the Blues, to where the Blues right now, if you look at their roster, it's a team that's set up for consistent winning next year, the year after, then the young guys are coming. Like, the Blues are setting up for a hopefully like 5 to 7 year run of really good, successful hockey. Cardinals have a good roster right now. I think you can do both. I think you can move on from Helsley. I think you can move on from Arenado if you can, and continue to just plop in some younger players, let them develop, let the Mason Wynn get better, Victor Scott get better, hopefully Jordan Walker figure some things out. And so then the Cardinals are actually a legitimate team for the next X amount of years, rather than just, oh, well, we didn't think we'd be here. Let's just hang on to these guys. Let's get in the playoffs, cross your fingers, never know, right? No, I mean, you can still have that thought process, but move on and get assets for players that you're no longer going to need.
Right.
Yeah, I think what's being offered is what matters most. If you have people that are willing to, if you have teams that are willing to offer you something that will make your team better in the future, then you have to stick to the plan that you set forth to start the season. And that was, at some point, more than likely getting rid of those expiring contracts. And is it frustrating? Will it be frustrating? I'm sure. But you're going to lose those guys more than likely next year and not have anything in return in place of those guys. So you're going to be kind of starting back over if you don't have those people on your team. So for me, I agree with Jamie. Don't just say, oh, we're here now, we're going to hold on to it. Unless you know you can re-sign Ryan Helsley, which I don't know that makes the most sense because he's a little bit older, a reliever, a closer. I don't know that that's in the best interest of the organization. You move on and you get something in return that has value that will help your team in the future. And if it doesn't help, oh, you made a decision. Listen, that's sports. You don't always hit on every single draft pick. You don't hit on every single free agent signing. You don't hit on every single trade. But you're doing it with the idea that it's going to be in the best interest of your team. And so you have to do what makes the most sense for your team in the future, even if in the future that thing doesn't work out the way that you think it should.
I'm of the mindset of you guys where it's like, hey, you got to keep the long-term plan in place, and the long-term plan is develop the youth, set up Chaim Bloom with almost kind of a free working slate and move forward here. However, if I'm viewing it through the Cardinals front office prism, which includes the DeWitts, if this team is a playoff contender and that stadium starts to, we're already seeing more and more fans show up, not to the degree of what it once was, obviously. But if the DeWitts are starting to see less red seats night after night, I could see them turning to Mo and saying, hey, we're ahead of schedule. Act like it. Don't sell off Helsley and Arenado. The team's already done more with less. Don't rip the guts out because the fans are showing up. I could see the Cardinals viewing it that way.
Can't do it. You can't do it as an organization. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that even the DeWitts have to look at this and look at long-term sustainability. Because if they play this wrong, and then they go back to being a non-playoff type team, those red seats are back.
Sure.
They're back. Long-term, no, this time, because now you've screwed it up. So, for me, if anything, if the DeWitts want to do what you're saying, and they want to hang on to all these, then the Cardinals, Mozeliak in the front office, the DeWitts have to tell them, well, go add. Never mind getting rid, go add.
Right.
Like, we're at the spot here. We think we can win this division. Mo, we've only got a little bit of season left. Go find some soon-to-be free agents. Go add them now.
Guys, this is going to be fascinating to see how they view this trade deadline, because the Cardinals, in my opinion, under Mo and this combination of Mo and DeWitt have really gone with the path of least resistance. They go into the deadline, they'll add a reliever here. If they're terrible like they were a couple of years ago, trading off Flaherty and Jordan Hicks and Jordan Montgomery, it made sense. It was the path of least resistance. Even acquiring some of their bigger names, Arenado and Goldschmidt, was still the path of least resistance. They didn't give up much. They weren't giving up top prospects in any of those deals. So when I view it from that standpoint, I could see this front office, again, assuming that the bottom doesn't fall out between now and the trade deadline, continuing the course, adding a reliever or two, and kicking up their feet and saying, "You're welcome, St. Louis."
And
I can see it now.
What does that do for next year?
No. I'm just saying.
No, I hear you. I don't disagree that you are. I don't think you're wrong. I think it's very
He
possible.
doesn't like what you're saying, but he doesn't hate what you're saying.
It does nothing.
No, I hate it, but I don't disagree with it. I hate
this is not
notion.
my opinion on what to do. This is,
but you're the vehicle.
You're the vehicle that drove
true.
it here. So now, speak on it. How does that help your team for 26, 27, 28?
Outside of getting comp picks for guys like Helsley and whoever walks, nothing.
What is a comp pick going to do for your team?
Well, you never know.
Okay.
Could be Aaron Judge, could be me.
Kaito.
You never know. But if I'm going to play devil's advocate, you can also say there's no guarantee that if you trade Helsley and you trade Arenado and you trade Matz, that you're going to get prospects that are going to help you. I mean, those prospects could turn into absolute duds.
That's true.
So this is where I go back to thinking about the way the Cardinals will approach things based on their history. And their history tells us that if they're remotely a playoff contender, they're not going to do much. I feel it. Because it's easier to just say, hey, we're ahead of schedule on things. We were right about some of the young guys, and boy, they surprised us, and we owe it to the team and the fan base to keep this thing going. It's easier to say it that way, as opposed to our mission has always been to set us up for the future.
Yeah.
It's less digestible for fans.
No, you're right. I just, you look at the situation and you compare the Blues to it. Doug Armstrong did nothing at the trade deadline. But in fairness to the Cardinals on this one here, Doug Armstrong only had 2 soon-to-be unrestricted free agents.
Yeah.
That was Radek Faksa, probably not getting you a huge return.
No.
And Ryan Suter, probably not getting you a huge return. So it's not like Army was painted into a corner and had to make a big decision. There were some other big decisions I'm sure he had to make regarding actual roster players and things like that.
Sure.
But I'm not discounting that. But the Cardinals now have Fedde, Michaelis, Helsley, Matz. They got some guys that they should be moving. I don't think any of those guys really moves the needle for your team right now. Like, I don't think if you got rid of all 4 guys, I don't think the team tanks, is what I'm saying. And it could help you set yourself up for, next year or the year after or years to come.
Somebody like Granillo could move into a high leverage spot.
Who knows?
Is he ready for it? I don't know.
I'll find out.
If you're going in a youth movement, you find out. You find out. Say, all right, let's see what the youngster has in a high leverage situation. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We are bringing back. I don't know where it went, but we're going to bring back Prove Me Wrong.
Oh boy!
So this is where the law firm of Davis, Rivers, and Stalter, we hear your statements and we attempt to prove you wrong. So if you have a Prove Me Wrong statement that you want to send in, the Air Comfort Service text line is 314-399-9646. Again, this is a statement that you want one of us to have to prove wrong. And Andrew Marsh is the judge, jury, and executioner. So we'll play Prove Me Wrong next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Carey Davis, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, look no further than Genesis of St. Charles. They are Missouri's first and only standalone Genesis dealership. They have a large selection of new Genesis models in stock ready for you to take home today. Stop by their brand new facility located at 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway in St. Peters, right off of Mid Rivers Mall Drive and Highway 70. Let Genesis of St. Charles introduce you to the sweet life of benefits designed to exceed your expectations. You can stop into their deluxe lounge, get you some of the best coffee you've had and will have in a while. And if you have a vehicle, if you have a Genesis, you can watch your vehicle be serviced while you sit there and enjoy that coffee. If you don't see the model or color that you want when you're purchasing a new vehicle, they'll help you find it and help you build your dream Genesis. Genesis owners get a complimentary scheduled maintenance for 3 years or 36,000 miles, whichever comes first. If you have a busy schedule, you don't want to step foot into their facility, you never have to. You can buy your Genesis entirely online with clear upfront pricing, including your trade-in, and even have it delivered up to 100 miles from the dealership. Visit them online today at genesisofstcharles.com. Again, that's genesisofstcharles.com.
.101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals still trail the Cubs 2-0. It is in the top of the 8th inning. We'll continue giving you updates throughout the remainder of the show. We'll talk about this series in particular. Once this game is wrapped up, we'll give you our thoughts on the Cardinals and Cubs series as the Cardinals try to win the series and prevent the Cubs from splitting. Once again, 2-0 Cubs in the top of the 8th inning. We have Prove Me Wrong coming up next, so if you have a Prove Me Wrong statement you want to send our way, do so using the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. We'll play Prove Me Wrong next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Prove me wrong, kids. Prove me wrong.
Time to play Prove Me Wrong in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. This is where you, the listener, send in a statement that you want Carey, Jamie, or I to prove wrong in front of our judge, Andrew Marsh. Judge, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic.
You playing golf later?
Yeah, you
I'm
look
not
like a
playing
golfer.
golf. No,
Got a
I'm
hat
just.
on,
I do have a golf hat on, and it kind of matches. But no, I just wanted to dress nice today. I'm gonna go out for some dinner later. So
Where are you going for dinner?
well, it's a secret.
Oh,
Okay.
It's a secret.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you just...
Why don't you just say screw off? It might as well.
How about you respect his privacy?
I was. You know what? How about I
He's
just?
gonna actually think about picking up the bill.
Yeah.
That's why he asked.
Oh, I'll tell you in the break.
No, I don't want to know now.
All right, then I won't tell you.
Judge, what's our first case?
I will give you guys a softball. It's been a while since we've done this.
It's been a while.
From the 636, prove me wrong. The Cowboys will win the NFC East in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Did the Eagles, are they relegated?
No, sir.
Okay. Did Jaden Daniels, is he playing this year?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no way that the Cowboys have a chance to win the division.
Brian Schottenheimer's their head coach.
There you go. Case closed. All right.
There we go. Good start.
Okay, felt good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't, when I got into it,
by the way.
Oh, he's just not good.
yeah, I mean, when I got into it, I thought I was doing it wrong. It's been so long since we played.
The texter man.
Yeah. At first, I was thinking, like,
At first, I was like, Carey.
Was I supposed to prove that?
It's not prove me right, it's prove me wrong.
Yeah.
You got there.
Okay.
You got there. I mean, it wasn't a Picasso, but you got there.
All right. Thanks for the
Nice work, buddy.
assistance.
basically, everything was on videotape. And we all saw it happen. You
Yeah.
just had to say, hey, watch the video.
Right.
I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Exhibit A.
Yeah. This one's not a softball. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. From the 217, prove me wrong. John Mozeliak is a Hall of Fame GM.
Anthony?
Is a Hall of Fame GM. I don't know off the top of my head how many general managers are Hall of Famers, but the list is not that long. I don't know if somebody that won only one World Series who was in his organization for parts of 3 decades qualifies as a Hall of Famer. As much as I respect what John Mozeliak has done, I also don't think that he revolutionized the general manager position in Major League Baseball either. Was he one of the better GMs of his era? Yeah, but one of. I don't know if he was the best. When you have somebody like Brian Saban who won 3 World Series titles in the same amount of time that Mo has been in St. Louis. Or even Dave Dombrowski, who has won multiple ones with multiple organizations.
Yeah.
Or Theo Epstein, for that matter, who broke not one but 2 curses in Major League Baseball. I can't justify Mo going into the Hall.
Well, you'd be remiss, too, not to mention the fact that if you're a Hall of Fame general manager, like you said, revolutionize, do something special. Like the Cardinals are one of the team's last ones to the dance on pitching labs, and they're just now catching up on certain things.
Right.
That doesn't qualify him for Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
One could make the case that he's been asleep at the wheel.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Metaphorically.
Of course.
Yeah.
From the 618, prove me wrong. We, as in the Cardinals, we're all a part of the team. We can still be a playoff team without Ryan Helsley. This team is not much worse without him, if any worse.
Well, how are you going to close out games? Let's just be honest here, okay? Like, how are you going to close out games? You got the guy last year was the best closer in all of Major League Baseball. And now you're going to have a playoff team? You think you're going to have a playoff team without said guy? Who are you handing the ball off to? Leahy? I don't think so. Roycroft? Like, let's just keep going down the list here.
O'Brien?
Like, O'Brien? Like, some of these guys, John King? None of these guys have the qualities that Ryan Helsley has. And when Ryan Helsley's on his game, he is the best. That's it, the best in the league. So to think that you can get to the dance without the best player in the league at his position, forget it.
Forget about it.
Nice job, Jamie. Of course, you made that the reverse point in the previous segment, but so I was looking at CD. I thought CD was going to take the case.
Hey, each case is independent.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, very true. We reset.
Ryan Helsley has been pretty sketchy, though.
He's warming up.
He's not a sketchy individual.
He's warming up right now. The Cardinals in the lead, Anthony?
No. I mean, he's warming up.
Oh.
As the season goes on.
Figuratively.
Yes.
Not literally.
Not literally.
No, not literally. I mean, he could be in the bullpen right now because the Cardinals are about to score 3 runs here.
Yeah.
Are they?
I think, yes.
I'm sorry, they're about to score 4 runs here.
Are they?
Marsh missed in the top of the 8th when the Cubs got another one.
Damn it, they scored again. All right, from the 636, prove me wrong. The Blues dark blue jersey with the circle logo with the arch in it is the best logo in team history.
Outside of the red jerseys, it's one of the worst.
Shame on you.
It's
the red.
The
reverse
red.
retro?
No. The red. The original. The original. I didn't close my case, Josh.
Marshy loves that jersey.
He loves the red.
You weren't going to win the
I was talking about the McDonald's one.
I know.
What
You're
are you
right.
doing?
His taste is just different.
The red at McDonald's.
You can say it as
The
many
judge
times.
let
He
his
likes-
personal
That's why I
feelings.
asked you, was it the red reverse retro?
And he said no.
When they actually had a red jersey.
Yeah.
You said no.
No. I meant the red.
That doesn't matter.
Judge, it wasn't closed. The
Judge,
case wasn't
if I
closed
may,
yet.
I need to file an appeal on this one because
I'll let you guys restart. How about let's restart here?
as a judge, you're not supposed to let your personal feelings come in.
It's true.
It's the letter of the law.
It's
It's right there on paper.
that's how this game.
Judge, I apologize.
I'm giving you the opportunity to restart here.
It's one of the worst and
Trying to get
unluckiest jerseys that you'll see, that dark blue one. And as my co-host will, or as my co-counsel will talk now about.
You already have too many co-counsels.
I would just like one.
We have a very powerful legal team.
Yes.
Your Honor.
Let me re-say the question because I think you're hearing the question wrong.
That could be the case, Judge.
We're not talking.
I'm not very bright.
We're not talking about jerseys. We're talking about logos.
Oh, the logo
That's
itself.
logo.
Judge, can I remind you that logo was actually produced during one of the darkest times in Blues franchise history? Dave Checketts and that group of people that came in here and almost messed everything up created that logo. Tom Stillman and his current group had to save the team, basically. So when I think of that logo, I think of failure, and I just can't have that for my Blues.
Way to pick up your teammate.
Yeah.
Nice job, Jamie.
Good job, Jamie.
This is what happened.
Nice job.
Anthony had the puck in the zone.
He cleared it.
No, he didn't. He threw it right up the middle. He threw it right
I
up the
threw a
middle.
saucer. Yeah.
We said, hey, Anthony, why don't you play it safe and just go up the boards?
Yep.
And you said, I don't think so.
I'm feeling it.
I'm going to try and hit this guy streaking up the middle. Here's the problem. There's 2 other players
Right
in front of him.
Do you see why I thought I had a clear path to a
Because you weren't listening.
pass? Well, no. You often talk about the jersey.
Yeah.
That jersey specifically.
Yeah.
And your previous hockey team always losing, which is why I added the personal touch of it's also unlucky.
We did. We every time we wore that jersey, we lost.
So that's what I was tying it into.
Yeah. Oh, we got one more here.
Okay.
This one comes from where did it go? Where did it go?
636.
Unbelievable. We have so many people texting in, Anthony. I lost it here. 636, Anthony. Good job. Prove me wrong. The UFL can only succeed if they have individual franchise ownership.
Well, I would disagree with that, quite honestly. The UFL succeeds right now because they share the ownership, which means that all the teams who have nobody in the crowd are sharing the revenue from the St. Louis Battlehawks. So if you had independent ownerships, those owners, those teams would disappear rather quickly because good businessmen know a bad business deal. And when you're losing money year after year after year, that's just going to be a no-go. Shut the doors, close it down, we're done here. So yes, the league has to survive by having one giant ownership of all the teams.
Does your back hurt today? Because you've been carrying us.
Man, yeah. You guys had a little bit of a hiccup
I
there.
finally sobered up.
Yeah, you did. He's back. He's partying last night. Now he's back. He's ready.
A couple of drinks last night. Yep.
Yeah, small hiccup. We're good. All right. In about 20 minutes or so, round 3 of the Gauntlet with Alex. Round 3.
By the way, do you want to hear
BTW?
You want to hear a little text that Alex threw in there?
Oh, what's going on?
Might have been
Little smack
chirping us.
little smack talk?
He goes, Prove me wrong. I'm going to run the gauntlet on all 4 of you this week.
Wow. That was his death sentence right there. Anthony, if you don't take him up behind the woodshed.
Oh, I think he's going with Marsh with that sort of smack
Marshy,
talk.
You're wearing the green today?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
Let's go, kid.
What does that mean?
Well, it's like the Masters, right?
Yeah, it's the Masters.
I thought you guys
Gold jacket, green jacket.
You guys didn't
who
like the
gives a-
green jacket a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no, it was sharp, yeah.
The green jacket?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Were we?
Really? Yeah, if you wanted to be a player in a different sport and like play in one of those events. And I said the Masters, you guys are like, the green jacket. No one cares about the green jacket.
I actually don't remember that.
I don't really care about the jacket, but it's the what it signifies is, excellence.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I don't think I was here.
I
think it was last week.
I think we were all here, but we weren't.
That makes sense. You know what? The odds are high that that's probably the case. Yeah. All right. Does Mikael Granlund make sense for the Blues at center? I always like when I tease something and Jamie goes, nah.
I didn't say anything.
We'll dive into it next on 101 ESPN.
to the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, our guy Andrew Marsh on the dials. So my guy Anthony, before going to break, talked about the St. Louis Blues and whether or not Mikael Granlund makes sense for the Blues to go pick up. So, Marshy, I know you've got stuff to add to this too. You've read a few things.
Yeah, I've seen that the number one person of interest for the Blues is Mikael Granlund. Centerman, he was on the Stars, had a little bit of playoff success with the Stars this past year. He's bounced around the Central Division. He seems like the only guy that would really be available, though.
Well, that's exactly what he is. He's pretty much the only guy that's available. Claude Giroux, who's a centerman and right winger, the Ottawa Senators are currently in negotiations to bring him back. Brad Marchand, who is listed on certain places as a center, right wing, left wing, he's not going to be playing center, and he's probably not leaving Florida. John Tavares is another guy that's available out there. The Leafs basically came out and said that they're getting a deal done with him right now in the coming days before July 1st, unless something goes horribly wrong. Sam Bennett, we know that he's probably staying in Florida. If not, he's probably going to cost you way too much money to bring him here. So that all of that, Anthony, to let you get to the Mikael Granlund, who, by the way, didn't even play center for Dallas once he was playing there. Played the wing for the Dallas Stars. So he played wing on a contending team. So that doesn't mean for me that he's going to play center on a St. Louis Blues contending team.
Have you watched enough of him to know if he's better at, like, what his position is? And I'm not just talking about winger or center. I'm talking about, second line, third line.
So he's realistically on a good team. He's a third line player. That's where I have him. He's pretty good on the power play. He has some offensive flair to him. In Dallas, in 31 games in Dallas, he had 21 points last season. In 52 games in San Jose, he had 45 points. So, he can put some points on the board. He got you 22 goals. You take that. But I said this to you guys in the break. Like, if Blues fans don't like the way Jordan Kyrou plays defense, I don't think they're going to like Mikael Granlund, the way he plays defense. Now, maybe there's something that the Blues know that I don't, or that Jim Montgomery and his staff feel like they can improve with this player. They certainly did a wonderful job on starting the process with Jordan Kyrou. But Mikael Granlund, to me, like, I just don't know. Depends on the price, I guess.
Yeah.
It depends on the price. But center ice position, those are the guys that have to be the most responsible defensively, because they're the ones that typically are playing down low in the defensive zone with the defenseman. So if I was to sign Mikael Granlund, for me it'd be like the Dallas Stars did, put him on the wing. But you don't need a winger. So, interesting.
Why do the Blues have to get a second or third line center this year? Why can't they just do the runway thing the Cardinals have been doing this season? You give Dalibor Dvorsky a chance. If it doesn't pan out, you run it back. Maybe you acquire somebody at the trade deadline, and you move on to next offseason, where then you have some expiring contracts going off the books, and then you keep moving the ball forward. You just keep this same team that you had. You're probably, if we're being honest, not going to win the Stanley Cup next year.
You bite your tongue.
Not saying they
You
can't.
heard it here. Hey, Marshy doesn't believe. 3:52 p.m.
6:26. He wrote it down? Oh, he's silent now.
What's wrong, Andrew? Finish your thought, bud.
You good? You can keep going.
You're right, Marshy.
It's not what I heard, Marsh.
Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it. But why not move?
Stop picking on him, Jamie.
I'm not.
Move the ball forward with the group you have now, and then next season when there's more options, then you maybe dip your toe in the free agent market, because there's going to be better players, especially at that center position. And now you've given Jimmy Snuggerud some runway. You've given, Dylan Holloway another year to grow into the type of player we think he's going to be. Broberg. Why not just do that?
Is he an upgrade from Sonny?
Yes.
So then that would be why. And there's no knock against Sonny.
But he's not an upgrade so much where you're going to pay him $4 or $5 million a year.
Maybe you don't pay him that.
You're paying Sonny $1 million.
If he's an upgrade and you pay him $3 million, Is that feasible?
I mean, it's obviously financially feasible, but then what's the term on it? Because you don't want Granlund blocking
you give him 2
Dvorsky
years
down the road.
Yeah.
2 years at 7.5.
He's not going to sign that. He's the only center that's out on the market. He's going to have a lot of offers. So to me, that's what's going to happen is the price is going to get inflated on Mikael Granlund. And I personally don't think Army will swim in those waters. I don't think Army's going to overpay for Mikael Granlund.
Yeah.
I would absolutely overpay for Sam Bennett, but I'm not overpaying for Mikael Granlund.
Yeah, right.
So in my opinion, what the Blues should think about doing is Zach Dean. You traded for him. You traded Ivan Barbashev. You got Zach Dean back, former first-round pick of the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Let's see where he's at. You know, maybe you have him on your roster, and then you have Sonny, Foxa, Zach Dean, because Zach Dean's he's a checking centerman. You know, plays gritty, all the things. Like he could fill in one of those roles. And now you're not overpaying, and you're kicking the can down the road, like Marshy's suggesting. Or if it's not Zach Dean, go find another version of Zach Dean. That guy's going to be out there. You can find a player that maybe was in the American Hockey League last year, but he was blocked on the NHL team because the team was too good. Because there's lots of guys who play in the American League that could certainly come in, be your extra forward, play center, and just kind of be that platoon player for you.
Sure.
And then you don't have to disrupt Dvorsky. You don't have to overpay Granlund. You can, again, kick the can down the road. And if Sonny plays well, he plays. If Fox is coming back and he plays well, he plays. That's it. You don't have to worry about guys getting ice time and things like that.
Yeah, good thought.
I have faith that this group, as currently constructed, can get back to the playoffs and win a round, maybe 2. Like I really do. So I don't understand why we need to bring in another guy just to, just to shoehorn him into the lineup because you feel like you have to have him there. I don't know if Mikael Granlund makes you a Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah.
You know?
He makes your team better.
Yeah, he does.
But at what cost, you know?
Exactly. It's like the Jordan Kyrou thing. At what cost?
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We have the Gauntlet coming up next. Alex, round 3. He got through Jamie and Carey.
Let's go, boys. Let's go.
Will it be Marsh or I next on 101 ESPN?
warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you survive the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit BlueNoteRoofingSTL.com for a free inspection.
4 o'clock, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. We welcome back for a 3rd consecutive show our guy Alex. What's up, Alex?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, you're talking some smackola, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, my warning shot got through on the prove me wrong there, I heard.
We saw it, man. So what's the deal? You taking Marsh or me today after getting through Jamie and Carey in rounds 1 and 2, respectively?
Well, I've got bragging rights on my brother, Anthony, and now it's time for Anthony Stalter.
Wow.
He's
right
very
now.
systematic.
Yeah,
how he's going about
he's
this.
just mowing us down. All right, Anthony. All right, Alex. Good luck.
You're Anthony.
I've only dealt with that my whole life.
His brother, Anthony.
Just getting this on, would you?
Shout out to Anthony. Good luck,
Get your
Alex.
ish together.
Thank you. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Our Anthony making his way to the cone of silence here. Alex, tell Marshy, spin that wheel.
Marshy, spin that wheel, buddy.
All right, what are you hoping for?
I mean, some baseball be okay.
Baseball be okay? All right. Well, how do you feel about the sport of ice hockey?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right.
By the way,
Anthony
Stalter, 9-0 in hockey. So not only would you take Anthony down in the gauntlet, but you would take him down in hockey and provide him his first loss of 2025.
Yeah, that's not an announcer jinx or anything.
No. All right, Alex, as you know, you're going to get 4 questions. Each question is worth 2 points. If you use the option, you only get 1 point, and the wrong answer is 0 points. And if we are tied at the end of the gauntlet, we'll go to a tiebreaker, and we will get a winner today. Alex, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, hockey it is. How many different captains have the Blues had since the year 2000?
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like the options would be all kind of close together. Let's go with 5.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Okay, thank
Final
you.
answer.
Question number 2. Name the player that captained the Blues at age 40, making him the oldest captain in Blues history.
I'm going to go with Al McInnes. I don't know if he was ever a captain, honestly, but I know he played pretty long.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Question number 3. Eric Johnson is the Blues' only first overall pick in an NHL draft in team history. Name the only player the Blues have selected 2nd overall in team history.
I think it was one of these recent guys, maybe. Let me get the options on this one.
Of course, your options are Perry Turnbull, Wayne Babbage, or Bernie Federko.
Let's just go with Bernie Federko. Final answer.
All right, final question. Which jersey number did Rod Brind'Amour wear while playing for the St. Louis Blues?
I guess let's do the options on this too.
All right, was it number 27, 17, or 19?
Let's do 17. Final answer.
All right. All right, let's get Anthony Stalter back in here. Alex, how you feeling, buddy?
Not great.
All right. Well, Anthony's making his way back in here. We plug in his ears. And Anthony, how's it going to sound today?
Silent, man. Yeah, no Mike Ryder, no Grant Francis.
Nobody. Saw a couple people walk by. Did they talk to you? Or
Tommy Mattern said, he asked me, Tommy Mattern, of course, our boss, asked me if I was in timeout. And I said, yes.
Kinda.
Yes, sir.
Well,
I
let's
am.
hope not.
Well, because that's
Oh, yeah, no, I don't want that.
That's right.
I don't want the penalty box.
All right, Anthony, category today, ice hockey.
Okay, good. I like hockey. Love it.
Pack a lunch.
Pack a lunch.
Fair.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. How many different captains have the Blues had since the year 2000?
Wow. How many different captains?
Yeah. Like the letter C.
Let's see here. Shen, O'Reilly, Petro, Backus. Oh, man. Pronger? Oh, it's got to be more than... I'll take the options.
Is it 7, 8, or 9?
7, 8, 9.
That's why 6 was scared of
7. Let's see here. Good dad joke there.
Yeah.
Well, no, okay. I just been, 5? I think they probably had at least 3 from 2010. I'll go 8. Final answer, 8.
Name the player that captained the Blues at age 40, marking him the oldest captain in Blues history.
It's got to be Al McInnes, right? I don't know anybody else that would have done it. I think it was Jamie's old partner, Al McInnes. Final answer.
Question number 3. Eric Johnson is the Blues' only first overall pick in an NHL draft in team history. Name the only player the Blues have selected second overall in team history.
Second overall? Oh, yeah, it was. I was telling Jamie before his options.
Options are Perry Turnbull, Wayne Babbage, or Bernie Federko.
Wayne Babbage, or I don't think it was Bernie. Wayne Babbage or who? Spencer Turnbull?
Perry Turnbull.
Spencer's brother?
Yeah, cousin.
I'll go with Spencer Turnbull's brother, Perry. Final answer.
Final question. Which jersey number did Rod Brind'Amour wear while playing for the St. Louis Blues?
Rod the Bod?
Yes.
I don't know. Options.
Was it 27, 17, or 19?
Let's go 17. Final answer.
Alrighty. Here we go.
I don't
Here
like
we
that.
go.
I don't like that sigh.
Let's
Here we go.
Let's start right there. Which jersey number did Rod Brind'Amour wear with the St. Louis Blues? Alex took the option, said 17. Anthony also took the options and said 17. Carey, answer is
17 plus 2.
19. 19.
Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
I would have known it for sure with the options.
19,
Yeah. Who wore it after Rod Brind'Amour?
Oh, that would, of course, be
Brendan
Shanahan.
Yeah, that's right.
You're about to say Jay Bomeister.
Yeah.
All right, 0-0.
That's who I was thinking when I heard all. I'm like, well, but Jay was 19, but
After one. Let's go with the reverse order here. Eric Johnson is the Blues' only first overall pick in an NHL draft in team history. Name the only player the Blues have selected second overall. Alex went with the option, said Bernie Federko, Hall of Famer. Bernie Federko. Anthony said Spencer Turnbull, please. Or his cousin, Perry Turnbull. With the options. Marcia, answer is?
It is Perry Turnbull.
Perry Turnbull. Great man, too, Perry Turnbull.
Yeah.
Got a son, Travis Turnbull, played in the NHL as well.
Nice.
Great family. Great family. Anthony up 1-0. Question 2. Name the player that captained the Blues at age 40, marking him the oldest captain in Blues history. Alex said Al McInnes. Anthony, you said Al McInnes. Answer is
Al McInnes.
neither of you needed the options.
Alex, nice job, man.
So here's how it sits here. 3-2 going into question 4. The question was, how many different captains have the Blues had since the year 2000? Anthony, you took the options and said 8. Alex did not use the options. It's at 5.
Oh.
Alex.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today. The answer is 8.
Nice.
Pronger, McInnes, Drake, Brewer, Backus, Petro, O'Reilly, and Shen.
Wow.
Alex, Anthony was undefeated in hockey, and he remains undefeated in
Well,
hockey.
the good game, Stalter, man. I appreciate the opportunity, guys.
Hey, you know what? You were the younger brother, right?
That's right.
So Anthony probably beating you along the way, but you still have bragging rights.
That's right. That's all I can. I'll take it.
There you go. Good man.
And your brother's probably going
All
to tell you
right,
that you still lost to an Anthony. Just saying.
Oh, no.
Alex, take care, buddy. Thanks for playing, man.
Thanks for playing. See, Alex, that's funny. That's true.
I had to throw a little needle there. After he started it.
He did, yeah.
He started.
Yeah, he knows, though. Alex knows that nobody's safe. I'm real happy about that 8. That was the snowman.
You pulled that out of nowhere. The one that a lot of people forget is that Dallas Drake was the captain for a while.
Dallas Drake. Have you heard the song?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. No, but for a CD.
When he was in Phoenix?
Yes.
Is it rough?
No, it's incredible. It's just a video of him just blowing people up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he could hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be
Head on a swivel when he was on the ice.
penalty these days.
I got to ask, what's the record in hockey?
Anthony, you're
10-0.
10-0.
You're a juggernaut
You are.
In hockey.
in hockey.
It was funny.
You have the best record out of all of us in hockey.
In hockey?
Yeah. Jamie's 6-0. Obviously hasn't had as
Nice.
many opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm 7-1.
What's funny is that. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
Everybody.
No, what is.
Carey's got 10 too.
Yeah.
10 losses.
Oh.
4 and 10. 4 and 10.
What's funny is my
Steelers
mother.
after week 14.
But Carey's 10-2 in football.
Yeah, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had next to no football.
You're 5-0 in football.
Anthony, you
are smoking.
Yeah.
I also, though, if I'm well known for saying India is located in a continent, they're not. It's not located.
What's his record in random? Just
He is 500, 5 and 5.
bad.
Really?
Could be worse. You're the Cardinals, pretty much.
No,
baseball?
they're
What?
much better.
You know who is
500.
great in random? Jamie, 6-0.
6-0 in random. Look at
You bring up that random BS, I got your back.
Yeah, you do. Heck yeah.
The listeners are 16 and 15 in random. That is their best category.
Wow.
Interesting.
All right.
So my mother, who listens from Florida from time to time, will always text me, and it's always after hockey. She goes, "Way to go, my boy! Another hockey win." And I said, "As you know, I'm from Canada." This is after one of the wins, and she just gave me the old
The shaking
shake my head
Yeah.
emoji. Yeah, she knows though. She knows. She's Canadian too. She's not.
The 618.
Should be
though.
Yeah.
618 chimes in. I bet you guys are happy about the Cubs.
What is wrong?
He has been texting in all damn day.
He blamed you for the Cubs winning last night.
Why?
He said you picked he said, "Hey Anthony, thanks for picking a Cub and beat the streak. Way to go, Cubs fan."
Yeah.
And I responded, I said, "That was me. Don't think it mattered. It always matters, CD. Only Cardinals matter. Fast lane everyone else. Period." Anthony took Reese McGuire.
Yeah. Eddie homered.
Not to mention 2 Fastlane members picking Cubs. Avoiding the comment. Cool. Still nothing about 2 members of the Fastlane picking Cubs last night. No answers, huh?
Man,
I bet you
tough
guys
day
are
for-
happy about the Cubs.
618 having a tough day today, man. Well, you know, whatever happened today, man, I hope somebody gives you a hug.
What did he say after I picked the Cardinals and bet the board the other night?
Probably
Nothing.
Against the Cubs.
Nothing.
No, he had to say something. He's fair and balanced.
What day was that?
I know him. It was Monday night. They're an underdog. I said, "Hey, give me them Cardinals."
Yeah, no text
what was his
on that
comment?
day. No text on that day.
Nothing? No. Wow.
No, in fact, the text started up this week on Tuesday.
Yep.
So he waited until after I picked the Cardinals? Oh. I view him differently now, guys.
It's unfortunate.
Now, could he counter and say that I traded him for a possum one time? Sure.
Trade didn't go through, though.
Trade didn't go through, though. Didn't count.
The possum had a no movement clause.
It kicked in. It was too late.
He failed the physical. Had to send him back. All right. He's playing too much in the sewer system that is known as the Oakland Coliseum.
He wanted to be there.
He did. He wanted to be there. He wanted to stay. Yep. All right. Leo, let's dive into today's tragedy next on 101 ESPN. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. The Cardinals fall today to the Cubs. Frustrating last couple of innings for the Cardinals. They had plenty of opportunities to, at the very least, make things interesting in the ninth inning, but instead they fall 3-0. So a couple of key scenarios as we look back on this game. And forgive us, we haven't seen every single at bat. The game's been on mostly when we've been here. But the big takeaways were, again, the missed opportunities for the Cardinals, both in the bottom of the seventh inning and then the bottom of the ninth. So they trailed 2-0 heading into the bottom of the seventh. Burleson lined out to center. Contreras walked. Arenado walked. But then Sajaci grounded into a fielder's choice to third, and then Gorman hit a shot to center field, but didn't have enough mustard on it, wound up being caught. But in the bottom of the ninth, Gorman struck again, unfortunately. Burleson doubled the center. Contreras was hit by a pitch, and I love the fact that he stared down the Cubs closer in that situation. Then it looks like there's a little bit of a fracas on the field at one point between the two. Mm-hmm. But Contreras is hit by a pitch, so it sets up a situation where you're down by 3 now. First and second. No outs.
What happened?
Arenado, Sajaci, Gorman. All set down. Strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. I did not see the end of Sajaci's at bat because I was in the Conus Islands, and I did not see Gorman's strikeout. What I hear from you guys, though, is that Gorman looked at one center cut.
Yeah. Wasn't great. And it was a righty on the bump. He's throwing some smoke, but really it was kind of a perfect scenario for Gorman to do some damage. Didn't get the bat off his shoulder, as they say.
The offense the last 2 days, goose egg. 0 runs, 18 innings of work. This series, by and large, is a disappointment. I know that if we go into the series and somebody tells us beforehand the Cardinals and Cubs are going to split, we'd probably be like, oh, okay, about right. But you win the first 2 games of this series, and then you drop the next 2 and you don't score a bleeping run. That is incredibly frustrating. The math is going to be the same. You're no worse for wear coming out of the series. But that is incredibly frustrating that you don't even score a run in the last 2 games of this series.
Well, and you weren't able to string together hits in the manner in which you had. You had 4 hits yesterday. You only had 3 today, and you had, I think, 1 all the way up until the 7th inning, if I'm not mistaken, today. Like it's just it's 2 games, right? You did split the series, and going into that, you probably would have been happy with that. But I think I agree with you. How the last 2 games went is probably a little bit frustrating, knowing that they beat the hell out of them in game 1, clawed and fought and found a way to win game 2, and then really got, I guess, dismantled the last couple of games.
I mean, if you're Ollie, you're telling your clubhouse, look, guys.
That's baseball.
That's baseball, exactly. Where's Miles? If you're Ollie, you look around, you say, stand up, Miles. You tell everybody what you tell everyone after a bad start. It's baseball. It's just baseball.
It's baseball. So
if you're Ollie, hey, we split, guys. No, nothing lost, nothing gained. You move on. But from our perspective, that's an L. That series winds up being an L because you could not build off that momentum. And Fedde's start, I hate to keep harping on this, but Marsh, feel free to join me. I know you're as passionate as I am about it.
Vibe killer.
Absolutely destroyed any sort of momentum you had with that
like
piss
the first
poor
pitch
start
of the game?
yesterday. Yeah.
First pitch of the game?
Yeah.
Carey, I wasn't even on 270 yet before the Cardinals
I was going to text
losing.
you all. I was going to text the group when I saw the first pitch. Well, actually, what happened was I was watching, they were just about to throw the first pitch. I went into the laundry room, and then I came back into the living room, and Ian Happ was rounding about, what the hell? Is it 1 pitch and out of there?
We were getting ready to go to dinner last night, and I always put the TV on. The dogs like to watch TV. Well, we're gone. So, and I put the Cardinals.
Time out. I love how you said that.
He just kept.
He was going to keep the feet moving.
They like watch TV.
What do they watch?
Whatever I put on, but most of the time, like
What's your favorite shows?
Well, they like the ones with the animals in them.
It makes sense.
So if you put on like Animal Planet,
the birds chirping,
or if there's dogs, like the dog shows when they're on.
Yeah.
Nala, our one dog, she'll sit there and like watch the TV and like follow one of the dogs back and forth, or a chicken or something, and she'll walk up to the TV and follow it like off screen.
Will you come back and they're still sitting there?
Yeah. So lately they've been into the Cardinals games, and
they probably left the room during the fifth inning.
I turned the TV on. I walked to grab the golf cart key and walked back in and make sure that turn the lamp on too. And I said, "What? Nothing. The hell happened? The hell happened?" I asked the dog.
What happened?
Kaiser's just staring, shaking his head. He didn't like it either.
Meatball.
Yeah,
meatball right down the middle.
It's like Daddy. Yeah, he threw it right down the middle.
Yeah. I think
and
that's
then
hilarious.
It said, "Can you please change the channel?"
Yeah. Can you go back to our favorite program? Can we please watch different birds?
Crap.
I haven't seen a meatball like that since the one that fell on the floor.
That's a good point.
Now, why do you got to hurt me like that? I was feeling pretty good.
But there's times like they'll bark at the
Because your
TV.
Cubs won today, Anthony. Is that why?
No, because I'm unbeaten in hockey. The Gauntlet. Favorite program.
Yeah.
I just love how you said it. All right, it's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We've got 2 parts to our six-pack. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. So if you got a question for us about anything, feel free to send it in. Part 1 of the Sports Six-Pack next on 101 ESPN.
Cheap, fun. Let's get dirty over at Dirt Cheap. The summer is here. Those beautiful sunny days. Maybe you're sitting out on the deck. You want to enjoy a beverage or two, or down by the pool, or at the lake, a float trip, you name it. Dirt Cheap has got you covered. And if you want to put those nice beers on ice, well, they've got plenty of them. Busch Light, Modelo, Corona, Coors Light, Miller Light, High Noons, Cutwater, Twisted Tea. I mean, just about anything you can imagine over there at Dirt Cheap. And they have fantastic selection of wines, whether it's a red wine, a white wine, a rosé, you have some bubbly, the champagne, and of course, my favorite category, the bourbon section. It's unbelievable. Dirt Cheap, by the way, that's just the name of the building because that's the prices that they're talking about. The bourbons, the tequilas, all those things, they've got great selection of some of the highest brands you can find, too. So head over to Dirt Cheap, check it out. You're going to love what you see. Also, download the Dirt Cheap Rewards app. Start saving immediately on things. And while you're on the app, too, you can go ahead and order for curbside pickup, delivery, and a couple of locations. You've got the drive-through. Speaking of locations, they've got new ones. Fredericktown, Washington, and Hillsboro, and a brand new location coming soon in Wentzville. So please head in today. They are your one-stop party shop. Visit them at cheapcheapfunfun.com. That's cheapcheapfunfun.com. And remember to have fun, but be careful out there.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. After losing 8-0 to the Cubs last night, the Cardinals fall to Chicago once again today by a final score of 3-0. The Redbirds will be back in action tomorrow, taking on the Cleveland Guardians. First pitch is at 6:10. Sonny Gray on the mound, and that game can be watched on Apple TV+. We're going to talk with Wayne Randazzo, who will be on the call for that game. We'll talk with him at 5:15. But coming up next, we have our Sports Six-Pack. So get your questions in to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. We'll do our Sports Six-Pack next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer me! The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by the Finnish Long Drink, Finland's best-kept secret. A sparkling citrus beverage made with real liquor. Visit thelongdrink.com. Must be 21 years of age or older. Drink responsibly.
Time for the part one of the Sports Six-Pack here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. So you got a question for us, send it in to Marshy, and he'll read it, just like now.
Question number one.
From the 314, Jamie, why is it that I've never heard of a Canadian hockey player ever going to a university or college in Canada? Any Canadian hockey player I've heard of that went to a college university went to one in the United States. I've always wondered about that.
Well, there have been a couple. In fact, the Islanders' new general manager, Matthew Darche, went to McGill University up in just outside of Montreal and carved out a nice little career for himself at the NHL level. But here's why. It's because in the United States, there's a direct path to the NHL by playing college hockey. Most of the players that are drafted, at least for a long period of time, was from college hockey in the U.S. or junior hockey in Canada. Now you have some USHL kids and all that stuff that are getting drafted in the States here as well. But the Canadian kids, usually the path is 4 years of junior hockey, and the rule used to be that the moment you play one game of junior hockey, you're no longer eligible to play U.S. college hockey. And so then when you get to the end of junior hockey at 20, 21 years old, you really have nowhere to go. So you go to Canadian university after that. So then your chances of getting to the NHL are slim. Nobody's really scouting Canadian university because those kids are typically much older at that point.
Sure.
So now, though, that rule has been changed where you can play college hockey in the States no matter what you're doing. And you're seeing kids jump from junior hockey to go play college hockey because they're good programs. And some of the junior hockey teams just aren't as, like, their setup isn't as good. Like, they're trying to play a pro kind of schedule, so that means you're traveling all the time on the road, trying to do your schoolwork from inside of a bus or a hotel room, and you're not getting the nutrition that you need or the workouts. And so I personally think that U.S. college right now is the best way to develop a player. And the facilities that they have some are better than what the NHL have to offer, quite honestly. But that's why you don't hear a lot about Canadian university players playing in the NHL, because Canadian university is almost like the last option for some of these guys to just keep playing hockey.
Question number two.
I believe it was the other day that we were trying to guess Michael McGreevy's middle name. And his middle name is, Anthony?
Steven.
Steven. From the 314, what are your middle names?
So, my brother, I'd love him. You guys have met my brother. He's a special human. He's 4 years older than me. And my mom and dad, when they had me, he wanted to name me. And so they said, okay, well, what would you like to name your brother? And he's like, Barry. My parents like, what? Why? He's like,
Barry Rivers.
Oh, the Family Brown was a country band up in Canada. They'd play like every Friday night. They'd have a little TV show and play like live things. The one guy that my brother thought was cool in there, his name was Barry Brown. So he wanted to name me Barry. And my parents were like, let's not. And then they said, oh, Jamie. And then they said, okay, well, you can pick his middle name. What would you like it to be? He goes, well, Barry. And I was saying to my mom, I'm like, what the hell did you think he was going to say? You think now because it's a middle name, he's going to have a different,
Yeah.
So here I am, Jamie Barry Rivers.
I never knew that.
I didn't know that either.
There you have it. Thanks, Sean. Thanks,
Mom.
Mom.
Not even like a Bernard.
Barry.
My dad let me name my middle brother. Clayton is what I gave
That's
him.
not bad.
Clayton.
My grandfather's name was Clayton.
But yeah,
how did that's it? Clayton though? It's not. I wouldn't think a kid would name it.
I don't know. So it was actually one of the friends. I think I named both of my brothers, or helped name both of my other brothers Cole. But yeah, I had a friend at school.
Named Clayton?
Named Clayton. I'm 6 years older than my brother, so yeah.
Clayton and Cole?
Yep. And my middle name is Alexander.
Gary Alexander.
Is it after somebody?
Nah.
No.
My mom just gave me a middle name because my dad didn't have one.
Okay.
They were beefing.
Nice. My middle name is Thomas, after my grandfather.
Oh, ATS.
ATS.
Mine is James. Andrew James.
However, sounds very distinct.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Andrew James.
AJ.
Yes.
AJ.
My name, though, was almost not Andrew, though. It was going to be something else. I was going to be named after a former Blues captain. If you would like
Al
to
McInnes.
guess. Nope.
Dallas Drake.
You may have played with him, Jamie.
Chris Pronger.
Brett?
Nope.
Brian.
No.
Okay. How far back?
I'm looking at a picture of him right now. He is wearing the clown jersey.
Oh. Wow, Al.
Nope.
Shane
Corson.
Shane Corson.
Old Shane Marsh would have been my name.
Wow. How do you feel about that?
I'm glad I'm with Andrew.
Yeah.
Shane
that.
Corson was a great teammate, though. He was good. He was a good player, and he'd also punch your face in. He'd drink 1,000 beers and play anyways. He was a good dude.
Good dude.
Yeah.
That was almost my name.
Wow. I'm with Carey, though. It sounds very prestigious.
Barry Brown. Right there, guys.
Andrew James.
There's Barry Brown.
Let me see.
He does look cool.
Look at this guy.
Barry Brown.
Oh,
Marsh, you
Barry
got to see this
Brown.
guy. Old Barry Brown.
Barry.
He kind of looks like Paul Rudd.
A little bit, yeah.
Yep.
A little bit different of a hairdo.
Good old Barry Brown. He's got vinyl, CDs, and more. You can purchase here online.
I'm with you, Jamie. Like,
What did you think he was going to say?
What did your fine folks think he was going to say?
I don't know.
Fine. Then Michael.
Oh, yeah. He's 4 years old. He's stuck in a rut.
This guy Barry was his entire life.
Well, and he used to love the music, and he'd dance around and all this stuff. And of course, it's Barry.
Well, he wanted you to be his best friend.
I guess.
It's very sentimental.
Jerry.
When you unpack Jerry, when you break it down, it's a very big compliment.
Yeah,
he loves this
He
Barry
loved
Brown.
him.
guy.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm going to love my little brother.
But when you see Barry Brown now, you're like,
Jamie Barry.
Jamie Barry.
Oh, wow.
Somehow that fits.
JB.
Sean picked it out for you. What's his middle name?
Hamilton.
Oh, okay. Sean Hamilton.
Well, my grandfather, who came over from Ireland, literally worked on the boat to pay for his way to get to Canada. His last name was Hamilton.
Okay.
But he had 2 girls. So the last name was not going to continue on. And his brother, his only brother, didn't have any kids. And so they wanted to keep the family name going. So
Gotcha.
Got it.
Sean got a regal name. Sean Hamilton. Sir Sean Hamilton Rivers. I got Jamie Barry Rivers.
I almost feel like his last name should be like Sean Hamilton Von Rivers.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
You're just Rivers.
I'm
He's
just
Von Rivers.
He's like some royalty. I'm
Yeah.
the guy that's scooping crap out of your yard.
Whatever happened to Jamie Barry Rivers?
Yeah, I think he's got-
Funny enough, Jamie's relative from back in the day, moved to Canada, became Hamilton, Canada, who are now the Hamilton Bulldogs.
Yeah.
How about that?
Steel City of Canada.
Actually, I just made that up.
No, really?
Jamie had
I have to say that now.
Jamie had a tiger cat at one point.
Yeah.
Which is why the Hamilton Tiger Cats got their name.
Interesting.
He's a real rough rider.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's the Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
I know that.
Nice.
I pay attention.
Way to go.
I know about the CFL. I was going to play in the CFL.
What team were you going to play for?
The Edmonton Elks.
I think it was Montreal.
Alouettes.
Or either it was Montreal or Toronto, but I
Argonauts.
Oh, you would have loved Montreal.
I would have loved Toronto.
You would have
Looking
loved
back
both
on
of
it,
those cities. You had a great time in the CFL, buddy.
I should have.
Ottawa's a good city.
I should have.
Edmonton's a good, a little like in the summertime. Great. Winnipeg's a little sneaky thing.
What's that nice establishment in Montreal?
The Chez Paris.
Chez Dagobert.
Oh,
That's in Quebec.
That's in Quebec.
Quebec City.
Yeah.
It's still around too, by the way.
Is it?
The Chez Dagobert. I was asking some of the things. They're still around. Should have my plaque on the wall.
Which floor?
Yes,
all of them.
All 3 floors.
Question number 3.
All right, from the 618, and actually this is Brian in Illinois. When the Blues signed Holloway and Broberg to long-term deals, do you think they will announce that at the same time? And if so, do you think the Blues will let Steen announce it as his first long-term deals? Great show as always.
I think that, I think everybody's on the podium, at the press conference table for that one. I mean, even when Army signs a player, he usually has members of the staff with him, sometimes the owners beside him and things like that. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll let Steen announce it. I mean, I guess if he negotiates it, I don't know. Probably a collaborative thing, no?
I would think so.
I would imagine.
All right, let's carry over the Sports Six-Pack. Part 2 is next, so keep those questions coming in. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. We got Part 2 of the Sixer next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by the Finnish Long Drink, Finland's best-kept secret. A sparkling citrus beverage made with real liquor. Visit thelongdrink.com. Must be 21 years of age or older. Drink responsibly.
Time for part 2 of the Sports Six-Pack here on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Marsh, take it away.
Question number 4.
All right, so earlier today, Jamie brought up his dogs and how they just love watching TV, especially the Cardinals games. We got a question from the 618. What was the name of your first pet?
Okay, so we had a dog, and her name was Beauty, and she was a great big collie, looked like Lassie, like almost the exact same dog, and she was awesome. She was big, looked like a lion, big fur and everything. She was super protective. I remember there was like one dog that like down the street got out, was kind of an aggressive dog, and it was like coming up towards our driveway. We were outside playing, and she used to just lay on the porch, and she tore off of there and went after the other dog. And once it ran away like 10, 20 feet, it come back and stood by me and my brother. Like, she was like super cool dog.
Nice.
Yeah. Great dog. It's not a funny story, Carey.
No, I'm laughing at one of the text messages.
The dog's gone now.
I'm laughing at a text message, not at the dogs.
You weren't listening to my story?
I was.
It's very heartfelt.
Listen,
he put his heart on the line.
the reason why the theme of is today's theme of the show. Answer all of your security questions on air.
That's a real good point.
All right, let's move on. Jamie, you're unfortunately.
Hey, guys, what was your mother's maiden name?
What street did you live on?
What the French, Toast? That's a great question.
Though.
Yeah, I know. Very.
Not now.
Not anymore.
I don't know. I always pick different ones, too. I usually pick hockey teams.
How do you remember?
Just like 12.
Okay.
That's always the same. So my security questions are always like the same, but they're none of these ones.
Wow.
Because you can Google stuff and find out all that.
Yeah, that's why I said that. I wasn't going to answer the middle name one, but I was like,
you can Google
find
all
that
crap.
Yeah, as soon as you look up.
Well, apparently Jamie's middle name isn't on Hockey Reference.
It's not. Apparently, I don't know why.
I'm with Carey on this one. I think we should move on. Yeah. I didn't have pets when I was growing up.
Maybe that's what the text line's doing to us today.
Yeah.
Marshall, you got to be better at picking these.
Well, I thought we were just letting the people know about our lives, but I guess, the information is too much. Too much information. We'll just move on.
Good call. Good job.
Question number 5.
Text line did it.
All right, the 618 wants to know, what is your 4-digit PIN code?
Exactly.
Typically mine is 1, 2, 3, 4.
What's your social?
Yeah.
From the 618, Jamie, if you were in Mitch Marner's shoes, would you bet on yourself and take a bridge deal or take the guaranteed money long term?
He's going to get guaranteed money no matter where he goes. He doesn't need to bet on himself at all. If anybody has a question about, he can't win in the playoffs, Mitch Marner is not alone on that team. Austin Matthews still can't get past the hump. All the guys who played on that team for all those years are all the same guys that can't win the big games.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Mitch Marner, picking up the phone, I'll call the Florida Panthers and be like, what would you give me to play from Florida? I'd like to be a part of what you're doing here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yep.
They got enough money.
Yeah.
He's made a lot of money.
I'm talking about the Panthers.
Yeah, they got lots of money. But for a guy like Mitch Marner, whether it's $14 million or $10 million a year, and then again, the no state tax, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get to play on a team where you could fit in and just be one of many and maybe go win another championship for the Panthers, and then all of a sudden Mitch Marner's a winner. So I don't necessarily think he's the only issue in Toronto. Obviously, the group has been the issue for several years in Toronto.
The combination of players.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Question number 6.
All right, Justin wants to know, what happens first? Do the Cardinals win the World Series in the next 5 years? or do the Cubs win the World Series in the next 5 years?
Cardinals.
Steaming piles of.
You know, it's time.
It is.
They got to get top end pitching. That's the fastest way to become a consistent contender. They need to develop top end pitching. Can they do it? Yeah. I think they need to invest more, though. They used to. They used to invest in top end pitching, and they had good pitching staffs. And then they were like, well, offensively, we stink. Let's pivot. And now you have a good offense, and your pitching staff is fine this season. But you don't have top end guys.
Have you seen the rumors about the Cubs trying to get Sandy Alcantara?
What?
Yeah.
He's had a rough year.
Yeah, he had, one good year? Just like Randy? Maybe a couple of good years?
Guy won a Cy Young Award.
He had a good year. Didn't finish dead last.
No.
Yeah, finished first.
Still got nasty stuff.
Grant Francis fan club says Dodgers 6-peat unless the Yankees, Mets, Phillies get lucky one of those years.
Agreed. And if the Dodgers don't 6-peat, they should be embarrassed.
If they do you give them credit?
No.
That's awful. You gotta give credit where credit is due at some point. If they win 6 times in a row, if they win 5 out of 6, you're not gonna give that team credit?
No.
I think people would stop watching baseball.
Do I give credit to...
Did you give credit to Michael Jordan? Yeah. And the Chicago Bulls? Why?
Those wins were legit.
They won 6 and 8 years, and he didn't even play in 2 of those years.
Yeah, he played baseball. He had a whole baseball career.
Not a
good one, but I'm going to give credit to anybody just doing what they're supposed to be doing? Huh? No.
You just said you gave credit to the Bulls.
It's different.
That's what they were supposed to
legit.
do.
It's different competition.
About the Lakers when they 3-peated. You give them
yeah.
You give them credit?
Absolutely.
Why?
Kobe's the man.
Is it because they had those players when they were young?
Nope.
And brought them in.
They
brought in Shaq.
Eventually.
That's how they won 3.
Well, Carey.
What did he do?
It's a smart organization that realized they needed more help.
Yeah. Kind of like the Dodgers.
No, what the Dodgers are doing is basically saying we're going to monopolize all the top all the top players who are too afraid to go anywhere else.
And what the Dodgers did is they're not even hungry at all, but they went to the grocery store and bought all the food so nobody else could eat.
Wow.
Bingo. That's a good
Sounds like
they don't even like all the food.
Sounds like what happened some places around here at a certain time with toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
People just buying it. What are you doing with all that toilet paper?
Hey, that was currency.
Well, for what?
It's pandemic, you son of a...
If you run out of toilet paper, does the world end?
What are you using?
Take a shower. You're in the house.
I'm just asking. So you got
if it's that bad.
Let's just talk about this shit.
You need
this is an interesting conversation.
You need 4 months worth of toilet paper so that nobody else can have any toilet paper. You're doing that much bleeping a day.
Well, now you got to remember, everybody in your family was at home too. So
how
if
much
you take a
toilet
house
paper?
like mine, that was like any. You had 4 kids, 2 adults, like boyfriends or girlfriends are over, whatever's going on. There's a lot of dumping going on. Now,
boyfriends and girlfriends not allowed.
It's the middle of the morning, okay, or middle of the afternoon, and you've got the soft serve going. You're not. It ain't breaking clean, Carey. What now, Carey?
If it's clean like that, you're good.
No. It's going to be messy down there.
Nah, you go. Hey,
going to be a cleanup on aisle 2, if you know what I mean.
4 months worth of toilet paper.
How do you? At one point, you didn't know when you were going to get it back. So
it was the world wasn't ending.
There's a lot of people that thought it was. Carey.
Those people are interesting people.
I just don't know what you're wiping your ass with then. You're not getting up in the middle at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, leaving your drawers in the bathroom and taking a shower. You're just not.
If I had no toilet paper,
what your scenario,
none,
you said
because what I said was because somebody took 4 months worth of toilet paper and left me with none. I think I'll survive. I'm gonna go take a shower. Get cleaned up.
So what if you're here at work? Where's the shower?
Nobody was at work. Everybody was at
we
home.
were here.
They
were
had plenty
here.
of toilet
You
paper,
weren't
I'm
here,
sure.
but we were here.
It
You're
wasn't-
gonna get. Where's the
wasn't a
shower?
packed house.
You bringing a tube and hooking it up to the sink?
Whatever you got to do.
You walk around, no drawers on around here.
What do you think they did back in the Roman times? They had toilet paper back then, right?
Absolutely. Not.
What did they do?
You know, Marcia, I'm gonna tell you something.
Here's the best take, Sir Tripod. If the world is ending, wiping my ass is the least of my concerns.
I don't know. It's gonna get pretty rough back there.
Marcia, I'm gonna tell you a story. Okay. There's a bear and a rabbit, and they're both having a dump in the woods.
Okay.
The bear looked over at the rabbit and said, "Hey, do you have problems with poop sticking to your fur?" Mm-hmm. The rabbit says, "Nope." So the bear says, "Great." Picked up the rabbit and wiped his ass with the rabbit.
It's not much of a joke. That's just
cruelty.
It's not a joke. It happened. I saw it.
270?
Side street.
St. Charles. One of the St. Charles side streets.
It was when Noah's Ark was over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's when that was used to go on.
Oh, man. This show is special. Biggest question of the day is next on 101 ESPN.
biggest question of the day, brought to you by Mentality. Our patients experience a 30% increase in testosterone levels. Reclaim your health at mentalityhealth.com/radio.
504, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We have Wayne Randazzo of the Apple broadcast coming up in about 15 minutes or so. He'll be on the call tomorrow for the Cardinals and Guardians series, and he was also the same broadcaster that announced Albert Pujols' historic night out in L.A. a couple of years ago. Same night BT was there. In L.A., though, not.
In L.A., not.
Yeah. So we'll talk to Wayne Randazzo about the national perspective of the Cardinals. But we got the biggest question of the day. Anthony, Marshy,
what did we learn from this series against the Cubs?
Good question, Marshy. Good question. CD's smirking over there, so I want to start with him.
You get me to get the people riled up.
No, I'm just saying. I looked over. I was about to say what I learned, but I looked over and I saw the smirk and I said, no, this is our leadoff hitter.
I learned to stay even keel. Not get too high.
No, what did you? Wins. No, I want your actual thoughts.
Your personal motto.
Yeah, we're asking you about your thoughts.
They are who we thought they were.
There it is. Okay.
No, they're good. Just not good enough to sweep the Cubs right now. They got time. They got another series here. 4th of July weekend. Go up to the Chi-Town and Wrigley Field and see what they can do. I don't know, man. Like, listen. I didn't expect. No, I'm not gonna do it.
No, you do.
No, I won't do it.
Come on, man. Now's the time to open up.
I won't do it. I won't do it.
Do you want Marsh to turn off the mics?
Yeah.
Marsh, turn off the mics.
Mics are turned off.
So,
thank you.
Between us,
yeah,
right. You got beat up in the last couple of games. The second game, Pete Crow Armstrong was out there doing ballet in the outfield and didn't realize it was only 2 outs, and Mason Wynn made an amazing play and scored from second on a sacrifice fly. Mm-hmm. That ties the game, keeps the game tied if Pete Crow is not out there pirouetting, forgetting what the damn out count is, how many outs you have. He's just like, catch the ball, pirouette. Look at me. So crap, ball.
So what you're saying is the Cardinals could have easily lost the series.
Michael McGreevy gave up 5 runs. He didn't get a great performance yesterday from Erick Fedde. One of the questions we had going into this series and has been throughout the year is pitching. Mm-hmm. Liberatore was outstanding in game 1. I mean, fantastic. And then went downhill from there.
Palante was pretty good today.
Palante was good. Did they win? I know you don't care about win-losses. His ERA, damn it, was damn good today, though, right?
I care about team wins and losses. I don't care about wins and losses for pitchers. Yeah. Paul Skeens is 5-8. That guy suck?
I mean, is he winning?
The Pirates are.
Throw zeros, then. Pitch better.
Even if you throw a 0, I don't know if that team's going to win.
That's Jacob DeGrom when he's with the Mets.
At least he won't have the loss.
What a Cy Young with like a 6-18 record.
Yeah, well,
wasn't that bad, but
just saying.
Okay. So again, just to reiterate, they probably should have lost the series, is what you're saying.
They could have lost the series, and Chicago did them a favor in game 2.
All right, so this is what I'm gathering out of CD. If I can translate what CD's actually saying.
Please do.
What CD is saying is, here's what I learned. The Cardinals aren't good enough to beat the Cubs.
Not yet.
They should have lost this series. Their pitching's not that good.
I didn't say they should have. I said they could have.
But Pete Crow Armstrong is overrated.
Yeah. Pete Crow Armstrong doing a pirouette in the outfield when you should be throwing the damn ball in cost their team, probably cost them a game.
Okay. Jamie.
Yeah.
What did you learn from the Cards Cubs series?
I learned that you still have warts as a team, and they presented themselves in this series. You didn't have the consistent pitching that you needed, and you had offense, spurts of it, and then the well dried up. So you're a fringe playoff type team to where you can't put it together for several nights in a row. And you played a team in Chicago that they helped you in the one game. But your team was resilient, and your team has been resilient for most of the season. It's been a lot of fun watching some of those comebacks, but couldn't get it done.
Jamie, I agree. I agree with what you said.
You agree with what we said.
What I said was way different.
Hey, guys, we had a question.
You
real
were
quick.
harsh, Carey.
Real quic question. Where's my girl at? Wants to know, are the mics off or something? I haven't heard anything for the past 4 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, turn it back on.
turn the mics on.
Mics are back on.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So what Carey and Jamie were both saying was that the Cubs and the Cardinals, look, you're just not good enough yet. But there's still a lot of positives, and we'll see.
A lot of hope.
We'll see where we're going. This is what I learned. Absolutely nothing, and I'm dead serious. I didn't learn a damn thing.
Why?
I didn't learn because
you watched those first 2 games. What'd you think?
This is the same team coming into the series that ended the series.
What?
They are.
I mean, they are
different.
the St. Louis Cardinals. They do have the same, pretty much same team.
We learned nothing over the last 4 days. Could have learned something had they won the series.
You know what's frustrating?
What
I find the most frustrating is you did win those 2 games, those first 2 games. The first game, outstanding.
They don't count now.
No, let me finish. Second game, you found a way to win. Whether the Cubs lost it or you won it, the W goes on your side, the L goes on theirs. Then you show up yesterday.
Gave it back.
And then you showed up today. And that's why it's very frustrating. Because you had a chance. At worst, you could have swept them. But you should have took 3 out of 4.
Yes.
Especially the way you played in game 1 and how you clawed back and fought in game 2. You found something that this team is capable of never being out of a game. And then you show up yesterday, and they were out of that damn game.
Yeah.
And you show up today, and you had hopes. You had runners in scoring position multiple times. Nothing. 3 strikeouts to end the damn game. Doesn't feel good, man.
No, it doesn't. You gave back the 2 wins. Let's just be real. You gave back the 2 wins on it. And that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Struggled against lefties, too.
Yes. At least your left-handed hitters were good in the first 2 games of the series. Not so much in the last 2. But yeah, you gave them back. You gift-wrapped them. You gave them right back. That great win that you had the other night, Erick Fedde took a dump in a box and then handed it right back to you. Say, here, this is yours.
Didn't wipe either. Didn't pick up the toilet paper.
No.
It was all gone.
No. So here, this is your gift. Here you go.
You just
Hope
shower.
you like it.
Cold shower after that one.
Or grab a rabbit, one of the 2.
Not a bad idea.
It's frustrating. I hate it. But I love you guys. Love you too, Anthony. Thank you. All right. None of them. Not a one of you. Not a one of you. I said, but I love you guys. Not a one of you.
We all.
I thought it was rhetorical.
I did. I
thought it was just understood.
Yeah.
Not a one of you. There's 3. I'm looking at 3 of you. Not a one of you.
Anthony, I love you too.
That doesn't count now.
Love you.
It's like the Cardinals this series. It doesn't count.
Anthony, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Marsh.
Did you feel that way?
Wayne Randazzo next on 101 ESPN. Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Wayne Randazzo is joining us right now via the Collier and Thompson phone line. He'll be on the call tomorrow as the Cardinals and Guardians open up a new series, and it's going to be fantastic. It should be interesting. We get the interleague series going on, but with Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Wayne, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. When you look at the Cardinals from a national perspective, it's interesting here. We're looking at it as like, hey, it's a youth movement. We didn't expect much yet. The Cardinals are off to a good start. But from you, for a national perspective, how do you view this club?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same. They pitched better, I think, than people expected, and they've certainly come around offensively with a lot of guys that aren't household names. The one guy that kind of is a household name has not been as great of an offensive player as he used to be. And now you have some of these younger guys that have stepped up and done the job for them. And, the National League was supposed to be tough this year. It is tough, but I think it's even tougher now considering, the Cardinals are better than people expected. The Reds are doing pretty well. The Brewers, I think, are better than people expected. So now you have those teams from the Central that were kind of written off at the beginning that are in the mix as well.
Wayne, when you look at the Cardinals, and we do a lot of talk about trade deadline and what the Cardinals can and can't do and what they should and shouldn't do and whatnot. When you look at the Cardinals and you look and you evaluate the National League in general, what do you think the Cardinals could add at the deadline that would help them not solidify a playoff spot, but get them closer to that?
Well, I think you always want to add pitching. I mean, you have such a great closer there in Helsley. It wouldn't be the worst thing to get him some help towards the end of games, and you just make that a complete strength for them. The starters have largely been good. Liberator has had a really good year. Michael has put some things together. We're going to see Sonny Gray tomorrow. I don't know that they need to spend a lot of capital to make this team better, because I think that you look at it and there's a lot of teams that are in the race in the National League, and it's going to be tough, even in the American League too. So it's going to be tough to decipher who's buying and who's selling, and you might see some teams selling that have the same record as a team that's buying. So it's going to be an unusual trade deadline, I think, in that regard.
Wayne, that's the direction I wanted to go. In terms of the trade deadline, do you expect any big names to be moved to anywhere, any organization, some outside of the box ideas of some players that could be on the move that could be a big name?
Well, if you're the Red Sox and you just traded Rafael Devers, you punted on this season. I mean, their lineup now is missing a lot of punch. They have a lot of young prospects who are, supposed to be the next big wave for them. Guys like Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer and Christian Campbell, and these guys are supposed to be the next group of great Red Sox players. So if I were them, I would be looking to add to it. You're not going to win now without Devers. You're not going to make a punch in the American League without having Devers there. They've done nothing but sink and not hit since they traded him. They might be happier without him, but they're not better. And they now, I think, need to focus more on the future. So I think if Alex Bregman is healthy, to me, he would be expendable. Jarren Duran had a really great year last year. He has not been as good this year, but he still can be a dynamic player. He could be expendable there. So I would think that they could be a seller and that they might have some interesting players. What about the Diamondbacks? They're in fourth place right now in the National League West. Not that the Cardinals would go for it necessarily, but is Eugenio Suarez available? Are some of those guys, Zach Allen, available, who the Cardinals had at one time? So there are certainly going to be some names out there as things start to unfold over the next month.
Wayne Randazzo will be on the Apple TV Plus broadcast tomorrow night as the Cardinals take on the Guardians. Speaking of the other side of the coin there with Rafael Devers, the trade, the Giants right now are 44-36, same record as the Padres. When you look at the National League wild card race, Wayne, and you're sifting through it, who do you think is a legit contender, and who do you think right now is just kind of posing and they'll eventually fade off?
Well, I think that's where the Cardinals kind of need to figure out who they are. Are they that team, or are they a legitimate contender? They split their series with the Cubs after winning the first two games. They got to go back to Wrigley next week to play them again. That's really an important series, I think, for them. They need to go to Chicago and win that series. I mean, they got to play a Cleveland team that's decent, that I it's not going to be a walkover either. So I think the Cardinals and the Reds and the Brewers all need to make those decisions for themselves here in the next few weeks. I think the Giants are legitimate. I don't know about the Diamondbacks because they don't have any pitching. Their pitching has really cost them a lot this year. The Padres looked like they were going to be a certain playoff team, and they've wobbled over the last month. So I think some teams need to, what's Atlanta going to do? Because they've had a really miserable start, but they've played a lot better in the last 2 weeks. So there are a lot of teams that need to take this month of July that's coming up and make their determinations.
Wayne, one of the players here that has been talked about potentially being moved is Ryan Helsley. Do you think that a team can make a playoff push without a closer with the caliber of Ryan Helsley?
We've seen it before where teams decide that they sell, but they're still kind of in it, and then they just happen to play well enough for the next 2 months to maybe slide in. That does happen. I don't think it's a great formula necessarily to trade a guy like Helsley if you have aspirations of being a playoff team this year or next year. I think that's a guy that you'd want to keep. He's still pretty young. You're young enough to still be an impactful reliever for the next few years. And, it depends how they feel financially about everything. But I think that, unless sometimes closers and relievers do get you a pretty good package of prospects at the trade deadline. So I can see where they want to think that way. But if they're 8 to 10 games over 500, that's a tough sell to the fan base to move your closer, a guy who's really good, with 2 months left in the season. I think that would be difficult decision to make.
No question. Wayne Randazzo joining us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Wayne, take us back to September 23rd, 2022. That was the night that you called Albert Pujols' 700th home run in that game between the Cards and the Dodgers. Did you get you had to have a sense that this moment could come. It could come on that Friday night game that you were on the call for. What was it like to prepare for Albert's possible historic night?
I thought about it for about a week or so. He had gotten really hot, and then he cooled off. He was on 698 for about a week. And, it started to look like it was going to be less likely, and especially needing 2 in one game. Just happened to be that game as well. I mean, the odds, I think, were getting really small. Mm-hmm. But I figured, Andrew Heaney was pitching for the Dodgers that night, and I figured he might get Heaney. Heaney gives up a lot of homers to righties. Albert was crushing lefties. It just seemed like a good matchup for Albert to hit 1. And I said to the crew, I said, if he hits 1, well, at least we'll have an at-bat or 2 maybe for 700 to possibly happen. And we'll at least have the drama of the possibility of it. But after he hit 699, you could just feel it in the air that night. He was not going to go home without 700 that game. And it was just an unbelievable moment to walk into for the even then. And I do Apple every week now, but back then I only did a few that year. And to walk into that one, a historic moment, it'll be something I never forget. I just saw it so clearly. I had tunnel vision of the pitcher and batter going into that at bat, and it was like everything else in the stadium was blocked out to me. I was so focused on Albert in that moment, and he delivered just a classic swing and a big time number to get to 700. We might not see anyone get to that number again. It was really special, and I'll love Albert forever for helping me be in the booth for that moment.
So I am interested and you mentioned it. Maybe you didn't prepare in terms of what you were going to say because he would have needed 2 that night. But after he hit 699, did you have something? Obviously, you got to be in the moment. But did you know what you were going to say immediately after that, or was it just all improv and you let the situation take over?
I mean, kind of a little of both. I think. I was still doing Mets radio back then, so I did the games with Howie Rose, and I asked him earlier that week. I said, I might run into Albert hitting 700 here. I said, what do you think I should do if it happens? And he said, well, you don't know what kind of home run it's going to be. It could be It could be a home run that touches off somebody's glove and falls over. It could be 500 feet. It could be a game-winning homer. Like, you don't know. So you have to dictate the moment of the game to the moment of the magnitude of 700 home runs as well, and kind of work it within. So all I knew is that I would take the home run as it came, and that I wanted to say 700 as soon as I could. I just wanted that number to live in the moment, because that's such a gargantuan home run number, and I wanted 700 to be as immediately into the call as possible. And I was able to do that, and I wanted to say he was in the 700 home run club, which is such a small one, and I was able to do that. So I listened to a lot of historic homers over the course of that week, just to kind of get some framework on how other guys had called big home runs like that, and I was pretty happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, we were too, absolutely. Wayne, we appreciate your time. So you made history, you called history then, and tomorrow night you'll call Sonny Gray's perfect game. So it's going to be exciting.
Well, I hope so. That'll be a good one.
Absolutely. Wayne, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the game. We certainly will on Apple TV Plus tomorrow.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Wayne Randazzo on 101 ESPN. And by the way, Major League Baseball and Apple announced today that they have additional coverage details for June 27th, which is Friday Night Baseball. They got a doubleheader on Apple TV Plus. Pre-game begins at 6:30, and they'll go from there. They've got a couple of different features and games and things like that. And our guy Wayne here will be on one of those calls on the play-by-play. The Friday Night Baseball pre-game shows will also be kind of an interesting, they're trying to expand their platform. Obviously, Not a lot of people love it. I get it. Not a lot of people, love the fact don't like the fact that the games will be taken from the local in our case, FanDuel Sports Network. But baseball's trying to expand and get to different platforms.
How about the analyst? Brought him up the other day.
Dontrell Willis.
Willis.
You're right. I saw his name there, and he was in the picture that I saw that you would remembered from the Cubs and Marlins game that I saw in Miami. I couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't remember Dontrell Willis's name.
The D-Train.
Yeah. Kind of like Sandy Alcantara, just a one-hit wonder, huh, CD?
Hey, you said it, not me.
You were telling me that earlier.
I wouldn't say Dontrell Willis was a one-hit wonder.
No, he was okay.
You said it. I didn't say that.
He was okay. He was good.
Yeah, he was. That's what he said. I didn't say that. Why are you looking at me?
Because you're talking.
Well,
I was told a long time ago, when someone's talking, you should look at them.
Well, he talks and you never look at
Anthony.
him.
I'm not allowed to.
No.
It's part of the rules.
Unless I'm teasing the next segment, then you guys just stare right at your computers. learn that one.
Love you guys.
We'll play Bet the Board next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. We just talked to Wayne Randazzo. He will be on the call tomorrow night as the Cardinals take on the Cleveland Guardians. You can watch that game on Apple TV+. The Cardinals did lose today 3-0. They end up splitting the series with the Cubs after winning the first two games. They dropped last night's game 8-0. And then, like I said before, 3-0 earlier today. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page. You'll find all of our interviews, all of our shows. That's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. NBA Draft Day 2 coverage starts tonight at 6:30. You can listen to that right here on 101 ESPN. We have Bet the Board coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Andrew Marsh, Carey Davis, and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Time to play Bet the Board. What are our latest standings, Marsh?
All right, Jamie has 12 points. Anthony, you have 10 points, and I have 11 points. And Carey has 5.
I've been stuck on 5 for a while. Like a week.
All right. Braves play the Mets tonight in New York. I got the Mets on the money line, minus 119.
Of course you do.
What'd you say?
I said, of course you do.
Why, were you looking at that one?
I mean, it's only 2 games going, so. And like
You got the W.
Well, I'm sorry, Carey. There's not a 1.5 bet somewhere for you?
No, I'm looking now.
Okay.
You had to have prepared multiple plays, right?
No.
No? Okay. All right.
Not that it matters. You know.
I am looking at that game as well, and of course I love my double plays. Give me the New York Mets to turn a double play tonight, minus 125.
All right, I'm going to go with the over 8.5 in that Braves and Mets game. Over 8.5 Braves Mets.
Give me Juan Soto 1.5 hits, runs, and all that.
It is.
Minus 120.
See, Carey's back.
There
He's been working out for me.
All right.
I'm going to get it together.
You already used your parlay, huh, kid?
It would have been great if I hit.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
No.
Kyle Tucker stinks.
I'm sorry about that. That's good. Actually, I'm not sorry about that. That's good.
That Kyle Tucker stinks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He didn't stink the rest of the games.
No, I didn't.
I should have picked him.
Yeah. Breaking news from ESPN.com. Rays Wander Franco, guilty of sexual abuse, gets suspended sentence. So that's a bad situation all the way around. Yeah. With current but going to be former Rays shortstop Wander Franco, found guilty of sexual abuse of a minor in the Dominican Republic after he had a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl when he was 21, received a suspended 2-year prison sentence on Thursday. Prosecutors sought a 5-year sentence, but would not serve further prison time unless he ran afoul of certain conditions, including contacting minors and such. So there's that side. Justin Tucker gets a 10-week ban from the NFL, according to ESPN.com. He's been suspended the first 10 weeks of the regular season after the NFL found that he violated his personal conduct policy. Tucker can serve the suspension as a free agent and is now free to sign with any NFL team. If he were to sign with the team, he could attend training camp and play preseason games before the start of the season. Boy, what a fall for both players. Mm-hmm. Franco, we just got barely a look at it.
Wander Franco is I think that might be the only long-term deal the Rays have given out in how long?
I'm pretty sure it's the biggest deal they've ever given out.
Wow.
Like, they just backed up the Brinks truck, and this turd, unfortunately, was doing some things he should not have been. But
not that the Rays would have had an idea of what was going on.
Right. Right.
I mean, I can't speak to the situation. I don't know, but I can't imagine offering that kind of a contract if you knew this guy had this
issue. Right.
Yeah.
Tucker, though, I mean, he was like one of the only kickers that was kind of fun to watch, and his fall from grace has been.
What is his problem? I forget.
That was another massage situation.
Oh, yeah.
He was accused of sexual misconduct by 16 massage
is it
therapists.
16 now? Last I saw it was 10.
Yeah, now it's up to 16.
Unfortunately,
magic number's up to 16.
That's ridiculous.
From 8 high-end spas and wellness centers in the Baltimore area, according to the Baltimore Banner.
Banned from them, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all around, those are poor decisions that cost yourself. It just ruins lives. Not
all the way around.
Ruins a lot of lives. So.
Tonight we've got the NBA draft. Night 2 coverage starting at 6:30. So last night we all saw Ace Bailey get selected by the Utah Jazz, and Ace Bailey didn't look like he was too happy to be there. There are some sources confirming from ESPN that Ace Bailey's reps told the teams in the top 5 not to pick him. Leading up to the NBA draft, Ace Bailey's reps informed a team drafting inside the top 5 that they didn't want the team to select the Rutgers wing and that he wouldn't report if they did. Bailey, whose pre-draft strategy had been one of the biggest storylines entering this year's draft, wound up being taken in a surprise with the 5th overall selection by the Utah Jazz, a team Bailey didn't work out for and won the number 3 overall prospect on ESPN's top 100 list said he wasn't even sure was interested in him. So Utah was like surprise pick of the draft last night.
Deal? He didn't want to go in the top 5?
Not to a certain team. Now, who that team is, I don't know. And it could very well be the Utah Jazz.
I think it was Utah and Charlotte. That's what I saw.
I can't even imagine being the representatives for that player and telling an NBA franchise, we don't want to come. If you pick him, he may not report. Okay, then he can rot because they can hang on to his rights. Can they not? I don't know how the NBA works, but in the NHL, they can hang on to at least 2 years. Let you sit there.
I like that move. It's spiteful. I like it.
I don't know, like you should reward people for that type of thought process.
Yeah, I agree.
What kind of a teammate or player is he going to end up being? Like, that would be my biggest concern. If I don't even have this kid yet on my team and he's already trying to dictate how things go, how's he going to be when he gets a couple of years under his belt and then the coach is trying to coach him and he's telling the coach to go blank himself?
Right. I'm with you.
I don't know, man.
He said, I can control what I can control. When asked Wednesday night after being drafted what to say to people who didn't believe he was happy winding up with the Jazz. He says, quote, they feel how they feel, but my team and me focusing on basketball and them doing what they're doing, so it happens.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal about nothing. I think he'll show up, be ready to play, and, get an opportunity. And if he does become the star that, he probably predicts himself to be, then he'll be able to move on from there sooner rather than later. The NBA is much different than every other league. The players have a lot of power in terms of where they can go and where they end up going. So, for me, do what you got to do, and then if you don't want to be there, don't.
Well, his agent, Omar Cooper, did bring up some good points. He said every NBA team watched him work out in Chicago. He did 18 interviews. Everyone got his medical. They watched him run and jump. They got his measurements. No one said anything when Davion Mitchell canceled the workout with the Toronto Raptors. No one criticized Evan Mobley when he didn't work out for Cleveland, and they drafted him anyways. There's nothing uncommon about how Ace Bailey's pre-draft process was handled. Fair, but I'm with Jamie on this one. If you're just saying flat out, like, don't draft me, I'm not going to report, and I'm also not going to work out for you. I'm sorry, I'm passing.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say...
Well, why would you draft him if he did say that?
Yeah, I'm with you.
But the agent's saying it's not uncommon. No, that's not true. It actually is uncommon. It's not unheard of that players act that way. It is uncommon because every other player, or 98% of the other players, were happy to go to their team.
Very true. In any draft. for that matter.
We had a couple of texts talking about Eric Lindros because he refused to go play for the Quebec Nordique if they drafted him. And I didn't like that move at all. I didn't. But at the end of it, it was karma that reared its ugly head because when Quebec decided to trade Eric Lindros to his rights to the Philadelphia Flyers, they acquired a whole bunch of players in that trade, and they went and won the Stanley Cup the very next year.
Oh, there you go. Worked out.
And then Mario Lemieux was another one famous that he didn't put the jersey on when the Pittsburgh Penguins drafted him. Mario Lemieux on record years later saying that it was one of the biggest mistakes he ever made by judging a book by the cover right away and not really finding out what was going on in Pittsburgh. And loved his time in Pittsburgh so much that he became an owner of the team and all that stuff.
Yeah, that seemed to work out just fine.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I hated it when John Elway made his stink about being drafted by the Colts. And I hated when Eli did it when he made the stink about being drafted by the Chargers.
Yeah, that was just,
And football gods rewarded those guys. 4 Super Bowls total. So
They did.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back. We'll wrap up the show next on 101 ESPN.
Have you ever thought about investing in farmland? Probably not. Most people don't think about that, but there are some really rich people that do. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates have been investing in farmland, and there is a reason. The reason is you get steady returns, you have long-term growth with that, and you have real stability. No matter what the market is doing right now, if it's sky high or the roller coaster ride of the market, don't worry about that. When you buy farmland, you get that constant stability, that growth year after year, and you need a good company to help you with that. AgVest is that company. They have helped leading financial institutions manage over $900 million in farmland deals, and they're licensed in 10 states. If you own farmland, AgVest can help maximize its value with full-service management, from sourcing and diligence to rent and tenant selection. So please, pick up the phone. Call my guy, Chris Bronner. His number, 618-520-7022. Again, that's 618-520-7022, or you can always visit agvestersadvisors.com for more information. Remember, buy land. They're not making it anymore.
If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast, available at 101ESPN.com or on the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. All the podcasts brought to you by Shaver Door Company. Time to find out what everybody learned today, starting with our guy, Carey Davis.
I learned that my guy, Sean Rivers, loved Barry Brown so much that he named his brother Barry.
Yep.
Jamie Barry.
Jamie Barry.
Old Jamie.
Old Sean Hamilton Von Rivers.
Yeah. And Jamie Barry.
Yep. And Jamie Barry Rivers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jamie?
What I learned today is that what I had been thinking all along was true. Carey Davis was monopolizing the out-of-desk area here in the studio.
He brought in a tape measure.
Measure off. To no surprise, Carey...
working with more inches.
2.5 more inches than what I'm able to work with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Happens that sometimes. I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, to no one's surprise.
See that
Right. Surprise is only 2.5. Jamie.
Yeah. Well, I was too, a little bit.
Marshy, what'd you learn today?
Oh, geez. I learned that when you talk crap to the fast lane will take you behind the woodshed and then we'll bury you.
That boy, Anthony.
Oh, yeah. Alex. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm like, who talked crap?
Who did that?
Because the 618 actually was very nice.
He was very nice.
Yeah.
You sent a nice message back to him.
Oh, go good. Excellent.
No, I said you did.
Oh, I did. Yeah. Well, yeah. We got to lift people up.
Yeah.
You know. What I learned today. What I learned today was that when you tell 3 dudes you consider your brothers that you love them, you may get a response of absolutely nothing back. And that's what I experienced today when I said, but I love you guys. And all 3 of you just stared at your computers. Like I was teasing the next segment.
We were answering questions on the text line.
Yeah. So, yeah, that hurt, but I'm going to move on after I see my therapist later. Marshy, what do you got?
All right, let's look at the Air Comfort Service text line real quick here. The 816 says that Carey probably has a bigger deck, too.
Probably.
No, Jamie's got a solid dick.
Yeah, that's right.
He got a pretty big dick.
He does.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
Thanks for noticing, Carey.
Yeah, no problem.
Lisa says, have a good night, guys. And remember, a 500 team does just what they are doing.
That's true.
Aren't they above 500? Where they are?
Yeah, they're above 500. But I think what Lisa's trying to say is that they're essentially if you're going to group them into categories, they'd be in that 500 bin.
They'll be fine.
This one comes from Handbone Williams. Good to see him back.
Handbone.
I learned that if I need to poo in the woods, I need to find a rabbit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Soft fur.
Okay.
And that leads us into our 3 stars of the day.
All right.
It's time for the Fast Lane's 3 stars of the day. Presented by Circus Sports Illinois. Sports betting the way it should be.
Although a rabbit would be a nice substitute to wipe your rear end. It's not better than toilet paper.
Nah.
3rd star of the day goes out to toilet paper.
Stop monopolizing it when you feel like the world is ended.
Our 2nd star of the day goes out to man's best friend. And possibly man's 2nd best friend, which is a television. That goes to dogs watching TV, specifically Jamie's dogs.
Yeah. Their favorite programs include anything from Animal Planet.
Is pretty
And the Cardinals.
And, of course, the Cardinals
Or any
games.
TV show that has a dog running around or something.
Yeah.
And, of course, our 1st star of the day goes out to a man named Barry Brown.
Barry Brown.
Oh, man.
I still cracking up your parents looking at him. Well, first name, no, but you can go ahead and name the middle name. What would you like to name your baby brother's middle name?
Barry.
Barry.
Probably a minute after telling him no on the first name. He was dialed in. He was locked in there.
Here's the funny part, too. Here's the other funny part. Your parents knew better than to say, look, this kid's name's not going to be Barry, right? Like, they knew Barry wasn't a good, like, for you. No disrespect to any other Barrys. But for you, wasn't going to work. But they just shifted it to the middle.
They didn't care.
They were good.
They didn't care. They're fine. They got their victory because they got the first name. They're like, we'll concede the middle name to the kid who wants to call him Barry.
The 4-year-old TV show. All right, they'll do it for us.
Crayons.
Hey, Freedom Friday tomorrow, baby. Freedom Friday tomorrow. For Andrew Marsh, for Carey Davis, for Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. See you.